I'm a seed with no sense of who I was to be. I looked up to the trees, the birds, falling leaves. The rain can't change the way this thirst got me. The monotony had me stuck like I'm in the mud trap. New key, different lock, how I'm supposed to react. So I dug when I did, cause I had to. Got rooted, I looked up to the sky, can't nothing move me. Optimistic, simplistic, realistically. Germination process, smell the flowers be. I sprouted, reached out, added, branched out. Young boy, sapling, yeah, mighty oak now. That concrete used to have me bound, but my leaf new. Y'all smell that fruit, how I come from this. Now I got the juice, produce that new wave that you're listening to. You feel me? I know you hear me cause you're bobbing your head. Street trees all I ever be, fuck what you said. Word, I know you hear me cause you're bobbing your head. Street trees all I ever be, ever be.
I mean, we ain't at the ER though.
I thought he said we ain't at the ER.
But so if I see another person of color,
if you see somebody else,
right? Well, especially one of us, and we in a
close quarters.
Let's say I'm losing my words.
Work environment.
A work environment. Any public.
Passing.
Yeah, we in but you know, it's us in there. So I'll be like, what's good? And if he ain't got nothing to say,
sure,
I got a problem with him the whole time. And I'm gonna give him another chance.
Sure.
And if he don't do it again,
yeah, you gotta give him another chance.
You got, cause maybe he
he was going through something.
Right.
Thinking about things.
Right.
Didn't even notice you.
Right. Mm-hmm. So I'll give you a chance. But you don't really get 3 strikes. Like if I say do it again.
What's his name?
Exactly. Who is he? What is this? Who is this dude? You know him? I don't like it.
He ain't giving you the what's up, brother nod
I don't
back.
like that dude.
Does he got to speak or can he just give you like a head, what's up?
Hey, give me some communication.
Acknowledgement.
Any of that. Like, I can take that. But you ain't gonna walk by me, look at me, and
hollow man.
No.
So do I got the right to go off if I hold the door for you and don't say thank you? I'll take that's disrespectful.
Nah, that's a personal thing because you chose to hold that door.
Damn.
Ooh. You do. You choose to hold that door.
Or is it you chose to be an asshole and not say thank you?
That's also the thing. Or, you know,
maybe, no.
People be scared, though, to be talking. There's a lot of social awkward people.
That's the thing for real.
I still don't care about that.
Some people just get doors open for them, too.
Right.
You're just a gentleman, you know? Because you open a door for somebody and they don't say thank you doesn't take away from you being a gentleman. That's never the reason why you open the door for the thank you anyway.
Unless you that bellboy.
If you're getting paid, if you're getting paid, that's the thing. You know what I'm saying?
Bellboy be like, what? Yeah.
Okay, I got a question.
Catch the back of your heel with that door.
What if you pull up to a red light and it's a guy out there with a sign? You put $5 out the window and he snatched that motherfucker and walked to the next car.
Oh.
What he's supposed to stop at yours?
No, I'm saying you're supposed to say thank you.
Yeah.
They say thank you.
You're supposed to say thank you.
Yeah.
You can say I appreciate it.
That's happened to you.
I got you.
What if he just snatch your $5 and just like,
are you getting out the car?
next guy?
You
That's
getting it
happened?
back?
That's crazy.
No, if it did, he'd get my $5 back. He'd get some change
what?
back. I'm giving his ass $2.
You taking this cup.
You ain't getting the whole $5.
You ain't getting the whole $5.
Yeah, you done fucked up. I try to tip you a little bit. You ain't getting the whole $5.
I hope that ain't never happened.
Just because you broke don't mean you came with manners.
Ooh. Ooh, shit.
I guess. But
Makes-
boy, when
said I guess.
I'm for real. You
better
out here
get you some.
You on the streets, my boy.
Humble is what it is.
Yeah. What we talking about?
Everybody ain't humble.
Everybody's not humble.
Why? Why are they not humble?
I don't know.
That's something that's taught. Either it's taught or something that's learned. That you done went through something, you had to become humble.
I think
Humble pie is the thing.
get
A
humbled.
little bit of both, you know what I mean?
You can get humbled.
Both.
Yeah.
Life has a way of humbling.
Oh, yeah.
Facts.
I got whooped. I got whooped.
But people take a lot of ass whoopings and still be bad.
They didn't do
Oh,
shit.
yeah.
They like that.
Well, mine took. My ass whoopings took.
Right.
Yeah, they stuck.
I'm still ignorant. Got my ass with my whole life. I thought it was gonna work. It didn't. I cried for about 7 minutes.
Well, it's a
I
time
had a
where
new joke.
it's a time where mama whoops your ass and then life starts whooping your ass.
That's when life do it to you. You be like, oh,
Yeah.
Yeah, because mama say she loves you.
right.
Life don't care about you at all.
That's big facts.
Hey, I lost. Like I had some humble pie because I thought I was really kicking it. Like I'm just getting out the crib, all that. I lost the job, got robbed,
Oh, wow.
all in the same month.
All the obs.
It's like, what's going on here? But yeah, so yeah, you can lose too.
Your life will do you, man, for real.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I try to be as humble as I can, but sometimes you can't be humble. Nah.
So what you trying to say? Sometimes you just got to step on their necks?
I mean, sometimes because people ask for it now.
Oh, God. Oh, God.
People be asking for something like, hey, nah, bro, today ain't the day. That and that. Yeah. Metal Gear.
Solid.
For real.
For real.
Sometimes you got to get that Metal Gear.
Oh my God. Oh.
So what's going on, fellas? We got HISO in the building.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I appreciate you guys letting me come on.
What's going on, bro?
Man, not much, man. Feel like it's a different day, ending the night off with, you guys' podcast. Definitely a little bit different, but man, these days just ain't long enough sometimes, especially when you're really out here trying to work. So
I know that's right.
yeah.
So for our listeners that I don't know where they've been, that don't know who you are, why don't you give us a little background how you got to be who you are today?
Man, I mean, whew.
So are you from Springfield?
So my family, we're from Nigeria, a small city called Akure, on the other side of the ocean. And, my dad got a job up here for the state after he graduated from Nashville after meeting my mom up there. It's kind of weird because, they both, foreigners that went to Tennessee State and met each other,
TSU.
what I mean? Yeah, so you know what I mean? I come from, humble backgrounds. I mean, if it wasn't for that, basically he was a teacher at Tennessee State. He was in Paris and he saw my dad eating out of a dumpster or whatever and gave him a meal. And he asked my dad, like, what is one thing that I could do for you that could change your life? And he's like, I just want to go to school. And he's like, man, I'm a professor. And so he somehow got my dad from Paris to America and gave him a chance, And what's crazy about it is my dad, even though he was homeless eating out of dumpsters in Paris, he actually won, basically we do these lotteries in Nigeria. I'm not sure if they got them anymore, but basically what these lotteries did is in America used to do them in different places or Western countries used to do them. But basically what it did is it gave one in a million person a chance to go to that country and become a citizen. And so my dad won that lottery to go to Paris.
Wow.
And so that's how he ended up there. And
Cool.
So
Damn.
yeah, that's kind of where, you know what I mean, I come from. And then when it comes to this HISO stuff, I mean, I'm just, a native from Springfield, man. I done lived in different places. I done moved away, but for some reason, I always find my way back to Springfield. And when I basically, I want to say, failed out of school, universities, and all that, I was on my way to kind of check out, to go live with my parents' house. I was 21, 22 years old. And there was a guy by the name of Yachty Eli, he owns Wet Bar. At the time, it wasn't even Wet Bar, nothing, just a DJ or whatever. But I had seen him at a studio in St. Louis before because he used to do electric wiring and stuff like that. And I told him if I ever came to Springfield, I want to see your studio or whatever. So on my way back, coming from Champaign, coming back to Springfield, I stopped at his place. And I mean, I ain't never knew Yachty never knew the guy. We never even had a real conversation. And so I stopped by, we started talking for an hour and I was like, man, you know what I mean? I'm about to go live back with my parents. It's an embarrassment because it's just somebody like me, it's one thing to go live with your parents, but somebody like me, I always, kind of had my own. I always got money. So it was a real embarrassment. It was my parents being like, man, I told you this life would catch up with you. Come home, nigga. And So, but anyways, I talked to him for that hour and he was just like, bro, there's something about you, man. How about this? I got a spare bedroom up there. Why don't you just live with me? And I was like, man, I'm a stranger. You don't know if I'm gonna cut your throat in the night or what. But, you know, he gave me a chance. And I can say that
So were you doing music or managing?
So no, it wasn't even none of that, man. What's crazy about it is back then, it was just music, just rapping. I mean, I was pretty much homeless, you know what I mean? Shit, I remember seeing Mario Cannon back then. He was homeless. We were just some kids, just a Yachty studio, just trying to, you know, make some music and beg Yachty to engineer for us. And really, he didn't want to. Like, you know, but I mean, one thing I can say about him though that's different is just like all my life, like I always understood like how to make money, like, you know, on the streets or how to like hustle up that type of way. Yachty, and even though my dad had a business sense and different, it never like stuck on me. Yachty was the first man that really like sat me down and really showed me what business was. I mean, to the point where it was like, he was like, yeah, bro, like if you bring anything into my crib like that shit, like I know who you is and I know you sneaky. It's over with. So it was like, you know what I mean? Yeah, I still hustle while I live with him, but I had to like maneuver a different way. And then towards the end, you know what I mean? He basically toward the end, which is messed up, like after a year went by, I mean, literally like 12 months exactly, one day I woke up and we just laughing, kicking it, you know, we in this kitchen. He's like, yeah, man, you got to get out. I'm like, get out? I'm like, wait a minute, what? I'm like, get out? Where the hell am I supposed to go? And he's like, man, I'm telling you, man, with everything you learned from me, you good. You're going to figure it out, man. And you know we boys, so you can always come over here, but yeah, you got to go find your own place to live, man. You got to, you know, you got to get out, bro. Like,
12 months, man.
Yeah, so then...
Figured it out.
Yeah, so, I mean, after that, you know, at that point, because I was like, dang, bro, you did me bogus. You made me start hustling. Well, he didn't make me, but, man, you taught me to want to start hustling. I ain't got really no income like that. And, Dad, you could have told me, like, 2 weeks ago this is going to happen, not on the day of. Like, man, you got a week. And so,
give me notice.
I know,
365,
right?
365 days?
Yeah.
What you gonna do with 2 weeks?
Exactly.
We had 365 days.
Facts. And so, you know what I mean? After that, you know, somehow I went down there because I had never really worked like, you know what I mean? Like I worked some job, but I hadn't worked since I was like 15, 16 years old, like a job. So I went down there to Job Corps or whatever there on Stevenson. And so they hooked me up with a job at Bunomatic. And so for whatever reason, you know, Bunomatic, you know, was...
weak.
Yeah, they put me in every station and I kept failing out, you know. I won't lie, you know, a lot of it was me, you know. I guess it just wasn't meant for me because they tried with me. I mean, until they got to the point where they're just like, go to the warehouse, please. just stack some boxes. But in that meantime, what was dope is that, like, you know, the whole HISO, like, just how I feel about just this entertainment company, I started, like, thinking about it in my head. Like, even, like, this, like, logo on my pendant, like, I kid you not, I bring a journal to work, and at lunchtime, I'd be drawing it. Like, they used to make fun of me. Like, Skittles will tell you, like, Barry, he used to work over there. I don't know if you guys know Barry or Skittles.
I know who he is.
Yeah, I don't know.
You work with him at Bun?
Yeah, Bun.
I was there.
Yeah. So, I mean, he was one of those people when I used to tell him, like, and I mean, it's all due respect because, you know, that's my boy, but he used to be like, bruh, in Springfield, this isn't it and this isn't that. They used to laugh at me when I was drawing, get into stuff. So, long story short, you know what I mean? I'd worked a bunch of positions until they eventually fired me. And so I kind of, you know, I just went back to hustling. And then I met the mother of my child and I started just thinking about this HISO idea that I created at Bunomatic, and I was like, man, I really want to go like full force with it. And, you know, she forced me. She was just like, okay, what I'm going to do is I'm going to get my degree, and if you go to like get like something from MTI or something like that, I will leave you alone about the HISO thing. I promise you, you don't got to worry about me, because she was on my ass because we were broke and we were about to have a child, and we only had a 1-bedroom. We didn't even have another bedroom for the kid. And so I did the MTI thing for like what was it? I don't know if it was like 8 months or a year or whatever. And I did that. And even the whole time I'm doing that, I'm still thinking about the ideas for HISO, still talking to some of my boys about kind of just how I want to bring, like, you know, a group of people together. And so I finished that, and I mean, I remember the first day that I had I think it was like at that SIU, one of these SIU buildings, and I remember the first day that I was supposed to work, I was hiding in the bathroom. I hearing them page me on the thing, can't say my name right, and I just knew I never had that type of nervous like feeling. And I was like, this ain't for me. So I went back home, and that's when I really started like, you know, just trying to just get the whole HISO thing into overdrive. So at the time, they were my bad.
No. How long has HISO been going?
Man, bruh. So I've had the building now. I got the building when I was 24. So I've had the building now for almost 5 years. So 2 years prior to that, before we had, so about like 7 years.
Yeah.
7 years.
It don't seem like that long.
Nah, man. Time's
flying.
Yeah, it does.
flying.
It don't play.
Nah. So, I mean, start of HISO was just literally like, you know, just a group of my friends, you know what I mean? Just us, I mean, just kicking it, you know what I mean? Drinking in my 1-bedroom apartment, just thinking about different ideas and stuff like that, thinking like we were gonna be gods. Like, I mean, like, we thought we was gonna make it that first year, like on some like Wu-Tang shit. And long story short, that definitely didn't happen. You know, I was probably even more broke than I was before. And what saved me and putting money back to my company is one day I was just, I had went to go visit Yachty, and I had stayed there. Well, I think we had went out that night downtown or something. And so I stayed the night at his crib. And so during that time, somebody that was on like a work detail or whatever with one of the trucks at like 5 a.m., came through his street and hit my, at the time I had a Benz, and they hit the Benz and they went through the Benz and pounced off and went through his neighbor's living room.
Oh, wow.
And so the...
Cha-ching!
Yep, exactly.
Hey, I know that neighborhood too. Cha-ching!
Yep. So I took that, since I was broke, I took that money and that $8,000 that they sent back, and what's crazy is I still don't even got a Benz today again. And I took that money and I put it back into like things for like HISO, like things like, you know, just that made more sense. And we started doing, we
hit your lottery.
Exactly. And we just
your lottery hit you.
Yeah. And so I just thought a little bit different this time around. And I was just like, you know what? Instead of just us like just trying to make music and signing up for shows and stuff like that, why don't we flip the scale and like I start buying some of this stuff, and I start doing some of these events, and I start doing some of these tours and buying this equipment. Like, I've never been the best, whatever, videographer, engineer, or any of that stuff. But what I've always loved is the culture, and I've always wanted to stand behind it. You know, I remember when I was, not to get off the subject of HISO, but like my earliest like memories of being like a little kid is like when I was in Africa, and there used to be this guy that basically, he was the only one. This was in the 90s, that basically he had a boombox. But at that time, like in Africa, if you had one of them boomboxes, and I know for you guys, that was probably like the 80s that you guys really used to do it. See, we was always kind of like 10 years behind till the internet happened.
Okay.
But anyways, this guy basically would start like maybe 5-6 miles down in the city, and he would walk all the way to this park, and he would do this like once a week. And when he would do this, I mean, hundreds to thousands of people on his walk to the park would walk with him because he is the music guy. And what I noticed...
It's Peter Piper.
Yeah. And basically what I noticed is that in him doing that, even when we used to like climb the trees and stuff and like listen and watch everybody, it was all American music. And in my head, you know, I was that African boy that, you know, my dad was in America. So I was always bragging like, man, my time is almost here, y'all. I'm going to America. I don't know about y'all, but I'm about to get out of here.
Right.
So just seeing like my people like dancing to this music that they could barely, I'm not saying that because English is our first language because of the British colonizing us. I just know that there's a lot of stuff and just a lot of just American music at the time. It just inspired me. It was just like, I wanted to be that guy.
It's the American dream.
Yeah, I wanted to be him. Like, I mean, it's crazy.
Baseball, apple pie.
Yeah, I don't even think he's alive anymore, but that's like my earliest memories of just like music and wanting to like draw a crowd. And that's where it just kind of comes from, you know? So.
I remember when you first hit the stage here, and you didn't have all the stuff that you're talking about you occurred.
Yeah.
You know, like and you came with Yachty.
Yeah.
Because Torch Tuesday had a couple different, you know, eras, and I was a part of 2 different of those spins.
Yeah.
But I remember the second part of it, you was a part of it. You know what I'm saying? You would come in and do your thing. That's when Yachty was DJing in there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, for real. I still got one of them first CDs you had.
Man, that's crazy. You was telling me about that the other day. I couldn't believe it because what's crazy is I don't even have one of them joints no more. So
that's how it happens, B.
Man, so it's just like,
that's why I keep that shit.
Yeah, so that's love, bro. That really is. I mean, you was there literally, and a lot of people, and I like, if they ever do a movie on this, like, I hope they, they put in all the details. But he was there when basically, I think it was like my second time ever rapping in front of a crowd. And I was so nervous, I kept spinning. And I spent the cord around my leg so tight that it wrapped me up like this. Like, I mean, I couldn't move because it was around. Everybody's laughing and stuff. And so I do the little scoot and twist myself around. And, Yachty's like, and I'm like, man. And so I got off the stage and he was like, why'd you get off the stage, bro? Your song's not over with. And so when he said that, I don't know why I did, which made it even more embarrassing. I don't know if you remember that. I got back on stage to apologize to the crowd. Like, man, and Yachty, he never let me, like, live that up, to this day. Like, I apologize for all my people and all my, I mean, he really... And then what was so crazy about it is that at that time I was still living with Yachty. And I mean, I remember him and his brother, Offman, you know what I mean? I was trying to take a bath like afterward just to cool down. And when I tell you, they made fun of me for 2 hours outside of that bathroom, bro. I mean, so, but it's good though, because you needed that type of stuff. And, and a lot of people, when stuff like that happens, they might not even come back. I was there the next Tuesday.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
You was ready for that.
Yeah, them Torch Tuesdays, man. I'm definitely glad I was a part to see that. That was something. So.
Some foundation.
When you started HISO, what were some of the milestones that you set for yourself?
Man, just I want to say man, and I don't want to just say Springfield in general, but Springfield has this thing, and even it's something that I feel like we're still trying to like tackle, which is like this unity thing. It's like, you know what I mean? Like I could sit here and I'm, and I feel like I'm a Springfield, native, even though, my family ain't from here, I still feel like a native. And we should be able to be like, man, Springfield versus the world. Fuck everybody. And bro, when you say that, you know what I mean? You don't even get that inspiration in the city. Like people scared to represent like the Springfield they came from. And if we can't even like stand solid in that, like being able to be like, man, Springfield versus all. And so where I guess I'm getting to with your question is just like, I feel like that was the hardest thing was to bring people together. And I think that's where my knack got better in that because I was trying to bring all these different people together and it was so hard over time. It became easier for me because I had to learn all these different like sections and people depending on where you're from in Springfield or who you are or what you do. I had to learn to maneuver in that because that was the hardest thing for me is that I'm not like somebody that, you know what I mean, like engineers like you or a videographer. So all I had was the people that I brought together, in the hopes that if I made their dream alive, my dream would come alive.
Y'all come through here and ball, but y'all got to get along.
Yeah.
And that's the, like, I mean, that would be like night hoop in the inner city. You're going to have young cats who come from different neighborhoods with different affiliations, and you just want them to play basketball. Yeah. Well, basketball might not happen, but that is what we bringing you here for.
Yeah.
And then everything else you want to just kind of work itself out, or that's where the challenge is.
Yeah.
And that's in Springfield, being Springfield and us in the room from Springfield definitely understand what you're talking about.
Yeah.
But like you said, challenges. What challenges did, HISO encounter that first year?
Man, that first year, one thing that I can take from that first year is just professionalism and something that, I'm not going to call nobody out, but I think why HISO kind of did a lot better or does a lot better is just because even though, trust me, we make our mistakes and stuff like that, we still try to uphold, that professionalism, which meant that, no, smoking blunts in the studio because that's going to kill, business from these people wanting to bring their kids in and, just different stuff like that. But the challenges that, we faced in the beginning was that, man. I mean, to be honest with you, we was kids. I mean, we were young adults, but kids nonetheless. And I mean, we couldn't get past getting high and getting fucked up and, and just wanted to make music. And that's not a business. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
Word.
He's
that,
24 with a building, with a business.
Yeah. And
24.
And that's just because, like, I was just tired, like, of just, for one, I was tired of living that, trap, because it's just like ever since I came back from Springfield, from when I was younger, even hustling like that since my bread wasn't right. And if your bread ain't right and you hustling, like, it's a trap, you know what I mean? You never really gonna get really over unless you really, you know what I mean, got it. Everybody in this room knows. So I was just tired of living that trap, tired of living broke, tired, and then it just felt like, you know what I mean, like, I don't know if you guys ever woke up and you like, man, I'm done partying. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I know I still got to level up and grow, but man, something got to change.
Something's got to change.
I was just in desperation mode. I had a child on the way, and it's just like me, you know what I mean? And how do I say this the right way? It's like, I don't have a generation that didn't have a dad. So I didn't want to be the first that couldn't live up and be a dad for my child. So it's just like, to me, it was just desperation mode. And so after that first year, and they sent me that check, I was like, okay, we got to do something a little bit different. That's why I went and I got myself, that building with the studio and started building that. Before we got this building, I went and rented out that place, that place, you know what I mean? I mean, and a lot of people, sometimes don't take those type of risks, and I understand why, but I was lucky enough to get, the space that I had for $200, a month. And so what I did was I used that space, almost like it was my own building, whether it was selling marketing stuff, whether it was production, whether it was studio, and I used it. And I mean, I don't know if it was just the right timing or whatnot, but I want to say in 5 to 6 months, I was able to almost save up 30 grand. And I used that money plus, just the knowledge that Yachty had given me, and I went and teamed up with Edwards Jones, and I did that, and that's how and that's how we went and attacked the bank, because a lot of people don't understand, like, I ain't even really had that good credit, but the difference between me and others is whenever I got that place that I was renting, I forget who told me, but they was just like, make sure you keep a paper trail, make sure you write down everything. And I did. So even whenever we're sitting there with the banks and stuff, they couldn't, I might not have had the best credit. And they got me, but at the same token, they couldn't knock how this money was made. Like, we're not sitting up here with
Absolutely.
So I mean, that was the hardest challenge, but just getting professional or just trying to figure out, people that could or wanted to be professional with me. And then another thing that just, you know what I mean? It just, I don't know if it's part of the game or just who I was, but just being so young and, all these things that we're trying to accomplish, are dreams. And when you're young and you got other people's dreams in your hands and they're young and stuff like that, sometimes because your belief, because you want it to be that, how do I say, sometimes you don't manage expectations. And that's something that I didn't learn until maybe like a year or 2 years ago, just doing business, you know what I mean? And when you don't manage expectations and you don't not necessarily follow through, but somebody that has their dreams in your hands that is expecting to be a millionaire, and you're like, man, we gonna do this. We both gonna be millionaires because you believe it yourself wholeheartedly. Every bone in your body doesn't mean that it's gonna happen, and that's why you gotta learn to manage expectations. And that's not something that they teach us in the schools or there's a blueprint for or any of this type of stuff. So, that's why, sometimes, when people like they ask like these, because once again, I'm not the person that's behind all these things. So when HISO does something wrong or we mess up with the client, I have to take that responsibility because for one, it's my company, but also I have to take that responsibility because I also understand that since these people weren't trained and we're all young adults, how can, I really knock them? You know what I mean? At the end of the day, people are going to say what they're going to say about me or they're going to say, but that's one of the reasons that, I don't really respond back to a lot of that stuff, because I can see where, some of this anger and aggression comes from. These is like, once again, these is people that had dreams that thought they was going to be a millionaire, and they working with Ayo, and since at the time, HISO, we was an up-and-coming company. We couldn't pay like that. So here they are working their asses off, getting underpaid. They got their dreams in my hands, and a year's going by, and they're like, bro, why ain't we, and once again,
You gotta be willing to work your ass off and not get nothing.
Right.
yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and there's been a little controversy that I've seen myself on social media. So it sounds like the same thing you're talking about. How you responded to that when you get that type of that reaction?
Man. So it's like you gotta ask which Ayo, as I get older, dealing with it and learning how to respond to that stuff, If you ask, the younger Ayo that started HISO, man, you said anything, we going back and forth, or I'm pulling up. We gotta talk about this, The Ayo towards the end, you know what I mean? And then even the Ayo towards the middle that was like, still looking for, I wouldn't say excuses, but like I'm a real nigga. Like a lot of people that, know me knows that, if I got love for you, like I really got love for you. You know what I mean? Like I'm still young, but like I'm the type of person that, I put people in houses. I put people in cars, like my own money, not other people's money, but my own money on artists and stuff that may never have somebody putting money towards them ever again. And this is before I hit my 30s. You know what I mean? I could be enjoying my life, doing whatever I need to do. And so people that know me really know that, I give my heart out. So when certain people that, I've had issues with come out of the blue work and they're like, man, Ayo did this and Ayo did that. It's like, okay, but tell them what I did do. And so the middle half of Ayo, like 2-3 years ago, that shit used to burn me up because it's just like, especially, I'm I'm another kid from the block. So to me, how we used to handle that is like, okay, bruh, you don't gotta like me, but you gotta respect me. And even if you don't respect me, keep that shit over there. Like you don't gotta, you know what I mean, express that unless you want a back and forth, you know what I mean? So that Ayo, you know what I mean, that Ayo and stuff, but the Ayo, like, now that I'm older, I understand when you help people, you don't necessarily help them to help them. You're helping yourself. You're putting better karma into the world. Sometimes it wasn't even about them. Sometimes it was about the domino effect. Sometimes helping somebody, you might have just helped 3 other people that you had no idea that were even in a worse position than the person that you helped. I always tell people, like, I want to be remembered in this town, and I feel like HISO, whether good or bad, will be talked about for years. But one thing that I want to get out of this is that I don't want to be known for, like, how much money we had or this and that. I want to be known for the people we helped. You know what I mean? How many people did you help with that short amount of time or whatever time that you had? And that's what I want to be, and that's why I don't want to lose sight of that. Even with all the stuff that gets, like, hyped up and, and a lot of people are like, man, Ayo, why don't you just speak a little bit more? But why? Like, let people that know me, and the people that, don't know me or heard something, you know what I mean? At the end of the day, my door is always open. And even if they never get a chance to see me in that light or come through my door, let my actions speak for me. Like, I'm not perfect, so I have a lot of stuff that, I still got to grow and level up on. And so to me, that's a beautiful thing. Like, man, Ayo was this and that, but getting to show them, like, man, this Ayo that's grown up can really do this and that. Like, you know what I mean? Like
The growth.
It's a growth. And like I said, I just, you know what I mean? The next vision for me is just, and I know people are like, man, you should just, because I've been doing already a lot of stuff in Atlanta, you should just keep it moving. But to me, it's just like, this is my city. And, I'm not going nowhere because besides just me, there's a lot of just the youth that need something. They need a platform. They need somebody to come around and be like, you know what? I don't need nothing from you, but you can come in. you know, and that's tough. Like, you know, we all grew up, there was nothing like that. There was nobody doing some of this stuff. And so that's why
for sure.
That's why some, like, certain people in the city too, like, you know what I mean? To me, even like, you know, even Rico tell you, you know what I mean? That even when, like, you know, Rico did I think it was like the astronaut thing in front of my building.
Yeah.
I won't lie, that shit was funny. You know what I mean? That shit was funny.
It was classic.
You know, and, you know, like maybe another person, you know, would have been like, oh man, you know, Rico this and Rico that. But man, I think like months later, Rico came to my building and was like, hey bro, I need to use your studio. And he'll tell you, did I mention anything or did I treat you a type of way?
No, because at the end of the day, we men and we learn how to separate business and even personal feelings.
Yeah.
So it's and I'll give you a little bit of backstory on that. So as time went on with me arguing with members from HISO and all that, we was going back and forth. This was when, let me see, Push was up under you around that time.
I was
Push
just going to
with you.
say, so you talk about members of HISO, but I haven't heard any mention of membership, just, you know what I mean? Just people coming through. So as you were saying, who was in there?
Well, before we even get to that, because it's a lot to it, because he also had fucking crazy ass fucking roster. Had fucking Ziggy, Lou, fucking Sean, P, Pud,
Everybody.
Nigga, everybody.
Everybody. Okay. Yeah.
So
That's a lot of people been through HISO.
yeah, but it's like it was like it's hard to tell dealing with us both being CEOs. Instead of us speaking, there was others speaking, and that's why sometimes you speaking can help. It just all depends on how you utilize that opportunity to even go live or make a video or something like that, because lines can be blurred when you have other people repping what you have.
Facts.
You know, so when all that was going on, after a while, I realized that it was so much animosity in the city that I took the initiative to say, let me also set an example to the people that look up to me, to let them know that even though we might have had words or back and forth, at the end of the day, if you can come together, y'all can break bread together regardless of, you know, emotional. And
Facts.
leading on with that, having so many hats that you wear, how difficult is it that you're also the CEO, you're also an artist, and you're managing and shaping artists' career, their music careers? How difficult is that to do on top of doing your own music?
Man, almost impossible. And I think that's where, you know, just, where it took time. And I think I let so many things slip through the crack, because when you're trying to wear many hats, you know, and basically deliver on all the things that, you know, you promised, you know, that stuff can be tricky. And one thing that I learned to get over it, and I always tell everybody that, you know, gets into businesses or different businesses or kind of ask that question, is organization. If you are organized, there's really nothing you can do. And what I mean by that, it took for me to understand my weaknesses and my strengths. And, you know, one of my biggest weaknesses is that I am a visionary. As soon as I think of something, I want to get on to the next thing without even finishing up, because I'm like, man, I thought of the vision, I put it together. Okay, boom, let that baby grow. It's just a seed, but we're moving on, you know?
Yeah,
and
for sure.
It took me a while to get the right team and the right type of people around me to be like, okay, we see that you do that, but okay, we're around you to finish this stuff. Like, you know, having like Betsy, you know, Allison, and just some of the people that you really don't ever even hear about or see in the background of HISO makes it possible for me to do those things. Because when I'm not able to be at my artist show or, you know, keep up with the emails or, you know, the organization, they take care of that. You know, to a lot of people don't even realize at this point, when it comes to just everything that goes around HISO, unless it's like a major problem, my hands are completely off. And it's been like that for, I think, the last, year now. And that's why I'm able to venture out to Atlanta and try to do all these new ventures and take care of my daughter and be home at 5:30 and actually be able to, because like I'm a single dad and a lot of people don't realize like I have my daughter every day. I mean, I love her, but it's tricky because it's just like, once again, I'm a black male trying to raise a black a black girl into a woman. And, and that's tricky. I'm young too, so I want to be out, to my damn self. And it's just like, once again, since I can't do those type of things, it's just cool to have a team or people that are organized at will. So before, like, I had these like 6 core people that do all the work now, you saw like I had 30. And the problem with not the 30 people, but the problem with how I did that is that, me just being who I was, if you were talented, it was like, man, come aboard, because I love this culture. I don't care. Like, there's people, I don't care if you had one headphone and you didn't have a laptop, but somehow you were able to let me hear the beat and I knew there was potential there. Come on. And, and I still have that attitude, but the difference is now that I understand, if you're going to bring somebody on, they need to be trained. You know what I mean? Especially if you want to have those type of results. Like the 6 people that really do everything in HISO, they were trained. And a lot of those people, for one, didn't have the training. And for 2, thank God I was able to bring a group of older people to become a board. And really, I don't got a board anymore. But at the time, I brought basically a board of just basically older males in the community that were either almost millionaires or close to it. And they helped me clean up shop. And doing that, because at the time he's talking about, I had 30 employees. And I mean, it was like a frat house.
Oh, for sure.
And
Animal house.
And I just remember and what killed it for me was just every single month going through $10,000 and still being broke. And, and so they came in and they're like, man, if you don't this, and it rubbed a lot of people wrong. And I know why it rubbed them wrong, because we had this place, that basically kids was running. Like, we was young adults, but I mean, we was all
spot, man.
26 years old. I mean, from 17 years old to 26 years old in the building, just, but it was beautiful though. Sometimes I look back at that and just, going downstairs and seeing all the different people in different rooms working as a collective, that was beautiful. And I really do hope one day, if I can financially afford that, and it makes sense, kind of like them LRS buildings and stuff, I can get back to that, because I feel like in life, you go through these different things in life, and yes, some of the stuff might be wrong, but you need to hold on to some of that stuff, because you need to take that with you, because you never know when you might need it later on in life.
You make mistakes when you go through things.
Yeah.
That's what you should learn from.
Yeah.
That's the learning textbook.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
How many did y'all get any albums or tapes done with having that big of a roster? Because you could just crash people together and make songs at that point.
Man, I want to say in that time we probably, maybe I'm a little bit off, but we probably went through maybe 7 albums, and I want to say like over 100 songs. But once again, with having that responsibility, what killed us was the organization of pushing it out and getting it all out. Like, it's a beautiful thing to have a collective of people that want to throw music out and, get it out and all that. But once again, all the money that's going behind, because once again, Ayo's paying for all this shit, whether they do it wrong or right, you know what I mean? Ayo's still giving checks. And so it got to the point where it's just like, does this financially make any sense? We have talented people on this roster, and not only is, we're spending money out, but are we going to financially get this back? And if we're not going to financially get it back, now I have 20 to 30 people that are hungry, like, okay, we can't keep doing this for a year, because once again, Ayo was paying everybody, but since there were so many people, I wasn't able to pay the people like I pay now, like a good, chunk. Everybody's working for pretty much minimum wage, part-time type of thing. And that rubs anybody wrong, especially when it's your dream and you're like, I'm going to make this a living for my family.
But let me ask you this. So when you're saying you have 30 employees, are you paying them to make music, or are they getting paid to make their music in your studio?
So what I would basically do is like there'd be a staff that worked with the artist for say, so the engineers and those type of producers, they would get paid and stuff like that. The artists themselves, even though they weren't getting paid, I had it in my mind for whatever reason, and and my percentage isn't even, and I won't go into details like that, but my percentage wasn't even nothing big. But at the time, now it's a little bit different because like when you came to the door, what did I say about Terrell? I wasn't like, this is my artist. I was like, that's my partner.
Right.
And the difference is because now everybody, if I'm gonna pay, you're gonna pay with me.
Yeah,
but at that time, I paid for everything. The music videos, the recording, if they went on tour, if the venue didn't pay them when they did a show, Ayo paid them.
You gave them a false sense of reality.
I really did.
Which is why they was, you know what I'm saying, when you scraping and scrapping, you're not expecting to get nothing. You know what I'm saying? You basically have to pay to play. You know what I'm saying? And if you in the game and you working and you in the studio, if you ain't dropping $100 for a session and somebody's doing it, you happy that someone's doing it. And when you said you didn't have people trained in those situations, I know in this room here, I know it's at least 2 people with, between us, 40 years of recording experience. And that's 20-something apiece. You know what I'm saying? So when you're looking at, people coming up and putting their dreams in your hand, they putting their dreams in your hand, but they also expecting something. And like I said, you paying and giving, that's a false sense. That ain't how that really works. So they was really getting a good deal.
From
a perspective of, hungry, starving artist type, you know what I'm saying? You got a place to record,
I guess the younger Ayo's mentality for the reason and just kind of just paying for everything at the start is because in my head, I was like, well, even if you sign an indie deal or with somebody that's just backing you, at least they give you a bag too to come along.
Yeah.
I wasn't giving them a bag to come along. Yeah. So that was like my way of trying to balance it out. Yeah, it fucked me, but that's where the theory came from, right or wrong.
Oh yeah. Like you say, you live and you learn.
Yeah.
Do you have any artists that you lost on your roster that you wish you could have kept?
Oh yeah, bruh. Every one of them.
Right. Give me top 3, man. Let me get top 3.
Man, I
just want a little top 3, man.
Man, bruh, don't do that.
Come on, man. You done heard all they. Oh no, they get their top 10 out of me every year. I just give me 3. Give me 3. Give me 3.
Man, this man.
You hear all the music. You can see the process. Give me 3.
Ooh. Man,
you're under a lot of pressure. You're under a lot of that's a lot of pressure right there.
Hey, he on the line. He down by 2. He got fouled by shooting a 3. Dangerfield. He got to make them all.
Man,
the clock's out.
And the reason why I say, like, you know what I mean, all of them, you know what I mean? Yes, there's definitely ones that are a little more special, to me that, I really wish, that, even, you know what I mean, kind of elephant in the room, but, Jay Wills is one of them, you know what I mean? But for me, the reason why I say all the artists is because in my heart, I still feel like I let them down. And you know what I mean? Even though you know what I mean? It works back, even though it's in both of our hands, because you know what I mean? It's a partnership. It takes 2 to tango. And I know that there's things that maybe were out of my control. I just still care about every artist that I've ever worked with, dreams so much that it feels like a failure that I wasn't able to get there with them or to take it to another. It's very personal because it's just like, I'm competitive in this too, and since I am competitive in this is that, like you guys just said it, man, dang, you had a roster.
Yeah.
You put a team together.
Yeah,
you planned to win.
Exactly. And
there was expectations. Hey, what did Kobe say? Job's not finished.
Yeah, it's not done.
Job's not done.
It's not done.
And so to me, you know what I mean, especially just like, you know, like there's been different like sections of, you know what I mean, HISO, and, you know, even just that section of just, you know, with Zipper Collective and RJC and just, you know what I mean, all them, like I just told those guys, you know, the other day, like, I am proud of you guys, you know what I mean, regardless of, you know what I mean, what's said and the hype or even how you guys feel, I'm proud of you, because a lot of people don't understand, like, even just me being at 29 and then being at like 26 and 24 years old, a lot of, even at that time, I was the 24 and 26-year-old. Those are my little brothers, you know what I mean? And I mean, and once again, you know, not to kind of bring the elephant in the room, that's why, you know what I mean, that stuff hurt me about, you know what I mean, Jay Wills. And I know a lot of people probably say, you know, that wasn't my place to talk about it, but it's just like, at the end of the day, you know, that was my little brother. Like, I really knew that man. And for whatever we had going on, or, you know, the in-between and stuff like that, I invested in this man's dream, you know, at one time before, and at a time where me and him were both nothing. Like, I was broke, living in a 1-bedroom apartment when I met Jay Wills, you know, in the petty squabble that we had, you know, that ruined our relationship once again, is a lot of the stuff that I just told you guys in this room, and that's not worth real beef. Like, there wasn't real bloodshed, you know, being
Business
said.
will do that to
you know what I mean?
also.
He was just in my studio 3 weeks ago. If this man thought I was gonna harm him, or there was really any, you know, real beef like that, or, you know what I mean, or he wouldn't have stepped foot in there to work with anybody, you know. And I get it. There's a lot of, you know, things being said, like, you know, the family said that, you know, you shouldn't have, you know, or posted, or, you know what I mean, this and the third. Nobody told me nothing like that. You know what I mean? Like, there's no way that, for one, people that really know me know that if somebody told me some stuff like that, like, I wouldn't go against their wishes. You know what I mean? And then for two, like, a lot of people don't, like, stop to think, like, you know, Jay Wills had a problem with me. Why would Ayo be in the insight of, you know, the few people that knew at the beginning? Because a close friend told me. I mean, one of his close people that was in that circle called me just to let me know, like, bro, you gonna hear this and you gonna see this on the internet, but I wanted you to know that, bro, it wasn't no real beef with y'all. If anything, it was competition and survival mode. We appreciate everything that you did for us. And could you imagine just, you know what I mean, being me and just hearing that stuff, like, dang, like, you know what I mean? Life's too short. You could have, once again, you supposed to be big brother. You could have, even if, you know, your little brother's talking shit, you could have called him up just to be like, hey, gang, like, bruh, help me out, bro. And in my head, maybe I'm wrong in this, but once again, I really do believe he would have laughed it off and been like, bruh, let me see that money, or laughed it off, not to the point where, you know what I mean, we beefing or nothing like that, you know? I wanted to save my peace. That's why I went, you know what I mean, to the balloon, you know what I mean, the balloon launch. Not for everybody else. I walked into a room where 85% of the people didn't like me. I walked in there not for them.
Right.
That was for Jay. And to say my piece, you know?
Some shit's
Like,
bigger than that.
Exactly. And so it's just like, and I understand, you know what I mean? There's a lot of feelings involved in this. And that's why I've just tried my best not to really speak on it, because once again, I don't want no attention from that. I don't, like, you know what I mean? Life's already hard enough, like, with everything that I got going on, to be trying to, like, you know, first of all, hurt anybody or any loved one that lost somebody. Like, that stuff, like, you know what I mean? That's a tricky situation. And it's just like, you know what I mean? Like, I think, like, Rico said it the best. It's just like, people just doing too much, man. Yeah. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it kind of goes back to what, you know, I was saying. Like, you know, one of the big reasons, you know, that I can never, I don't want to say never, because you should never use the word never, but I wouldn't come at Rico even if he did, because I know what Rico has done for this community. And if you respect what somebody has done for the community, whatever you guys got going on for the better good of the community, let it go. Like, it's just not, to me, it's not worth it. You know what I mean? To me, I know how hard it is, because I'm in Atlanta and these different places and see how fast they're moving. I'm talking about 6 people that don't know each other yesterday know each other tomorrow, and they're already making strides in 2-3 months in Atlanta. Like, you know what I mean? Some of us have known each other since we was in middle school.
Yeah.
You know?
That's real.
Like, you know, and it's just like, to me, like just all the, you know what I mean? Especially, you know what I mean? And I don't want to turn this into no race thing, you know what I mean? But somebody hit me up the other day talking about it, but just like tearing, like when another black man tears another black man down, like, bro, that stuff got to stop. Like we all from the mud in a city that wasn't made for us. You walk down 11th Street and people drive down South Grand and 11th Street every day and don't even know that's where the race riots start.
For sure.
I'm not even from here, and I know that stuff.
For sure.
They, like I was telling you the other day, they over here giving, I forget what that statue was where he was in corduroys holding a Bible next to Abraham Lincoln. Like I told you, if they gonna make statues, make Mr. Betts a statue.
No
People
doubt.
that really
No
help
doubt.
the community.
Y'all wasn't
know
ready
what
for
I mean?
that,
Like,
Springfield.
Like we still talking about Abraham Lincoln.
Man,
like I
that's
get
second,
it, but
Y'all wasn't
you know
ready
how
for
many
that.
pioneers really helped this city that don't get talked about?
Man, Mr.
Like,
Best changed the trajectory.
Hey
of
man,
my
tell your
life.
story. Tell your story
Seventh
about
grade.
Betts. Cause me too, and you.
Yes.
Man, Betts.
When you told me this, I flipped, cuz.
Look, Betts saved me. So when I got back from basically in the 8th grade, my mama caught me with drugs and cash, and she sent me to live in England with my aunt. I got caught once again with drugs in England, had to move to Spain. Uncle wasn't playing. He put me through a little 4-month boot camp there. And I came to basically back to America, and I went to Springfield High. They caught me with 2 pounds in school, so I got expelled from there. I went to Southeast that first week. I got in a fight. So long story short, Mr. Betts' program, my junior year, if I didn't do that, I would have been held back a grade, and no 186 school district would even take me in. So what did Mr. Betts do? He basically fought, because I mean, at this point, my parents was like, bro, this kid, you know what I mean? You kind of getting like, my parents are African, so to be on like what I was on, like, especially in them days, is unheard of, you know? And so Mr. Betts basically fought these other districts, and long story short, he got me into Chatham. If it wasn't for him, I might not even have graduated, because no 186 district school would take me in for what I did, but he got me into Glenwood, and I graduated my senior year.
Shout out to Mr. Betts, man.
That's crazy.
Yeah, that's Mr. Betts.
That's
Yeah,
crazy.
That's Mr. Betts. So
He got me into Lane College after a felony. Mob action. He said, man, I was tripping. I was tripping. I was doing, you know, it was stupid.
Charge.
But what happened was I was sitting in the county with like 3 felonies on my head. And Mr. Betts, it happened on school property. I wasn't a student at the time. And he was like, yeah, we're gonna drop all them charges. And then he told me, he was like, look here, man. And plus, I was quarterback, starting quarterback from sophomore year all the way through senior year, starting quarterback at Southeast High School. So it's like, what are you doing? Like, what do you 1 year out of high school, what are you doing? So he was like, look here, man. You need to do the whole, I'm gonna stay at home and go to Lincoln Land for a year, but you still hang around your partners when you're done with your class. You know what I'm saying? Or you might miss a class hanging with your partners. So he was like, look here, man, I'm gonna shoot you down to Lane College. And, you know, whatever happened from there on, but he sent me out of here to a school. Another story, another brother. You know what I'm saying? Mr. Betts, for real.
Nah, it's Mr. Betts.
When he said that to me, cuz I was like, man, that connection right there, like that's a connection we have. Now, besides the music, Mr. Betts, that's a real one right there.
He saved me, because if it wasn't for him, I kid you not, I would have gave up on school. You know what I mean? And I don't know if that would have hurt me not becoming where I'm at now, but I really do feel like that, because even after that stage, I went to colleges. Even though I fucked them all up, I still went to colleges to see that experience. You know what I mean? Even though I didn't pass, going to college and just seeing that experience, it's almost like going to like a different country. You know what I mean? And some people, you know what I mean, if they never get a chance to live those worlds, and I'm just blessed that I got a chance to kind of see that stuff.
He sent me to a HBCU. You know what I'm saying? 400 people. One white kid. That's an experience.
Yeah. Like you said, I was in 7th grade with drugs and cash, and you know, Mr.
Who are
Betts.
y'all niggas? We gonna talk off air shit.
It's intentional Dangerfield,
We gonna
baby.
talk off air. I don't know who the hell I'm here with.
Word on the street, C3 drop the
Niggas
mixtape.
always getting caught with drugs and cash.
Yeah, we do.
Hey, you see the black hoodies, man?
And then Mr. Betts did what he did, and I listened, and I did what I did, and here we are.
Well, that's a great segue.
You
Absolutely.
said, who are y'all? Got me questioning myself over here.
Said I caught a body in 87, said,
Cuz
said I had a little revolver.
hold on, cuz I was in 7th grade with drugs and money on me.
You heard me?
Hey, what?
My man said I was in high school with 2 pounds. He said I went from England to Spain, and then they sent my ass back to Springfield High School.
He
Look
did.
at Ben had
And
a
then got into
passport.
Glenwood, though.
Then got in
And then
Glenwood.
got into
It makes
Glenwood.
sense.
It makes sense.
Hey,
How?
that's unbelievable.
How?
Hey, this nigga.
all I thought about
Hey,
Mr.
whoa,
Betts.
whoa, whoa.
Hey, all I thought about
Somebody
was,
owed Mr. Betts something.
hey, we all know
had
Mr. Best
you.
something, baby.
How did you get in
And
there?
what's so funny is when I still see him to this day, he never, like, you would think, like, you know, when I see him, I'm like, I get happy. I'm like, he's always still so stern. Like,
Boy,
give
you
me that
wanted-
handshake and keep it moving,
He
bro.
wanted a
He holds
million.
frame.
I'm watching you, bro, and he keeps it moving.
You
Like,
wanted a million. That's what he do.
Yeah.
This is what he do, man. This is what he does,
Hey,
man.
Earl.
I don't know anything about Mr. Betts at all.
Good. Good for you.
But this is the
Because you don't have a pocket full of money with drugs on you. Hey, if you ain't banging and slinging, you ain't on Mr. Best's radar, cuz.
that's true. But all I know is this: Mr.
Knife
Betts
crimes.
he gotta be a bad.
Oh, yeah.
Well, didn't he
He
play
gotta
for
be a
the
bad man to get you in the
Was he a
shadow.
Cowboy?
Oh, yeah.
I think he was a
did.
Detroit Lion.
He better be.
Hey,
Yeah, you know.
He gotta
was a
be.
dog.
hey, them Lions is tough.
Hey,
Because they don't win
he
a lot.
gotta be.
They don't win a lot.
But they play every game.
He played football.
Full,
He
full
gotta
fucking
be.
speed.
Because I just don't see.
Bro, I'm telling you, like the
I don't
movie,
see it.
like Lean on Me, Joe Clark, he was doing that in my middle school.
Oh,
he was pressing fools.
Batman.
Like he was cleaning house,
All right.
literally. Like,
Shout out to Mr. Betts.
absolutely.
Because I
Double
just,
shout out,
that's,
baby.
That's a move I ain't never seen.
Springfield
That's a
Fire.
move
yeah.
I ain't never seen.
That's how I said he's one of them unheard of.
But the segue I was going into, it was kind of funny because y'all was talking about pocket full of drugs. BP the plug.
Okay. Where
Why
does
the
that come
name
back?
change?
So, long story short, in
Who's BP the plug? Can
That's,
He
yeah,
is BP
yeah,
the
that's
plug.
that's
You're
my
BP.
artist. Yeah, that's my artist name. That's
Okay.
my artist name.
Okay,
And basically,
okay.
the brand name switching up. Man, a lot of different reasons. So, in I want to say last year, I basically just gave up doing music. Man, I was just like, you know what?
During
I'm just gonna-
COVID?
Well, I mean, it started even before COVID. It was probably at the beginning of last year in January. Like, it was a good, like, maybe that January. So I think COVID started in, like, what, March?
March.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
March,
Friday the
yeah.
13th.
So obviously ideas and things building up to this point too
Yeah,
is making
yeah.
this decision.
And I mean, long story short, I had given up on music pretty much. And what's crazy about it is I've pretty much been making music all my life. You know what I mean? And it got to the point where it was just like, maybe this wasn't for me. Maybe I should just live through, you know, my artists and stuff like that. And I should just concentrate on the business because the business is already has so many cracks in it anyways. You know what I mean? So maybe I should just focus on that. And in doing that, you know, and that's why I always tell people, even if you don't make it in that, you should still, you know what I mean, try to do your dreams, because in doing the business without the music, I lost the fun in the business. And I started to slip up even more in the business because to me, now I'm having to force myself to go to work. And when you're your own boss and trying to make your time, and like a lot of people are like, well, if you don't, you know, you're your own boss, you got more time, it should be easier, sometimes it's hard to get up out of that bed, or it's hard to write down a
crunch time.
to-do list, and even though it's written down, to just go through them and do it, you know? Man, and then I want to say in December at the end of last year, there was this kid, and his mom had been bringing him to the studio, I think for like 2-3 months. I mean, right now he's only 17 years old, and he goes to Landfair, a kid by the name of Vanish. And I just was walking down in the studio, and I heard some music, these beats, and I mean, I'll never forget it. He didn't know, but I was outside the door just rapping and I had it for a year. I didn't even think, I was like, man, I didn't even think I still had it. And I opened the door, and he's this kid, and he's just like, hey, what's going on, Ayo? You know, and I'm like, man, hit that again, no. I was like, what? And he was surprised because, I mean, he's just this, you know what I mean? Man, and I don't want to like sound out of pocket, but I mean, He's just this white kid from Lanphier. You can tell that, you know what I mean? He probably doesn't have a huge crowd or anything like that, but he just loves music.
And,
you know?
and if you don't want to say white, start saying Caucasian.
Caucasian, okay. Caucasian, okay, yeah. Thank you, Rico. You might have just saved me in so many more interviews to come.
I always say Caucasian. You can't get mad at that.
Oh, God.
It's not even, I'm going to ask this, but I'm going to say this. There are a lot of white artists in town.
A lot. A lot.
Am I off on that?
No, there's a lot.
No. And not to get off, because I'm going to answer the BP the plug one, but to kind of embrace on what you're saying, you know, one thing that I always talk about, and I mean this in no disrespectful way, the way white people rally around these white artists when they come out, let me tell you what. If us, Black African Americans, did the same, we'd already have one out the gate.
There it is.
But I'm gonna leave that alone. That might be another. That might be another. You
That's
know,
no cap, though.
That might
You know
be
what?
another. And I don't want to touch on that one too bad because I don't want to be out of pocket. But I'm just trying to say it in the most polite way.
You can't be
that-
out of pocket speaking about a music that comes from a culture from you.
Well,
You can't be out of
This is
pocket.
us.
We were touching on that very point last podcast with, you know, mainstream artists.
Right.
To bring that back to local.
For sure. And that's not gonna change.
Is it?
I don't. Wow.
Like he
It's
said,
not.
but like
Because
he said though.
it's a lane that
Man, this.
if they could ever get there, and they have, they're gonna back that.
Is it the Willie Lynch letter at play?
Maybe, but who knows? You know, who knows? I ain't gonna get into that.
Yeah, why not?
But because I'm gonna let them live. But at the same time,
Why though? Could you live? Could you put a cowboy hat on and go honky tonk?
Well, you know that you know you can't do that because Lil Nas X got axe murdered for.
We're not
being
even
a
gonna go
country-
there. We're not even gonna go there.
So exactly.
Let's go back to.
We're not gonna go there.
No. Let's go back
We're
to.
not gonna go there.
No, we're gonna go to when Nelly did a country song with Tim McGraw. And the country fans was
They
like,
don't like that.
That's not country music.
not. Yeah.
But then Florida Georgia Line do a song, and them two white boys rap, and then they have Nelly on the song, and y'all love that joint.
And it's rap for them.
Exactly. So they can pick and choose, but you know what?
Right.
Culturally, it ain't got nothing to do with you, period.
Exactly.
And like he said, they're gonna rally around it, which is gonna give you that support, which gives you that whole, that big top circus thing. Sure. Everybody goes to the circus for what? Entertainment. For what? Clowns. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So when you got that, you got the whole circus in the big top. And we gonna show up with our 4 or 5 homies or whatever, and then they gonna show up with their 4 or 5 homies. But together we got 30 folks in here. Yeah. But we can't sit here for each other. Yeah. Sure. That's what he's talking about, which gives the perception that white rappers are.
But this will always stem from slavery. But I don't need that. Get into that's gonna be a whole nother.
That's a whole nother. That's a
That's
monster.
what I asked the Willie Lynch letter.
That's you can go to jazz. You can go to jazz.
Yeah.
If you go to a jazz ensemble, it'll be 90 musicians on stage, and they all be white and some Chinese.
Yeah.
Jazz is a black music.
You're right.
And there won't be any black artists up there.
All music,
you know
technically.
Say it. Yeah, that's right, though.
I don't want to get into that neither.
No, but we can, though.
It's too much. It's a lot.
We have a pure African sitting here, correct?
Oh, no, I got to represent all the Africans.
No, we're talking about the culture. We're talking about music and the culture, though.
He already started trying to figure it out. I'm trying to make me the one.
I am not here for that. I'm from England. I'm from Spain. My father is from Paris.
The Africans say I'm not African enough. Black people say I'm not black enough. Like, bro, I already don't make this harder on me, my guy.
It's a tough spot.
I'm telling you, bro.
So if you don't mind, finish up the BP, and then I want to get on some places outside of the United States. How that is.
Okay. So, man, just to kind of, speed up why BP the plug. So I used to go by my full African name, Ayo Abitogun. So the thing about that is, like, when you do that, you start to alienate your American crowd. Because for one, I don't think the whole time I was Ayo Deli, most people even knew what, it was probably like Ayo Deli. I don't even think they were saying it right to begin with. In my head, I was like, well, Kanye, I'm sure people was calling him Kane. They'll get it, after a while, But long story short, I was like, when I heard Vanish's beats, and I was like, man, I need to rebrand completely. And I was like, you know what? We're not gonna go with the African name. You know what I mean? We're gonna take that off, and we're gonna do something. And I've always already danced with like the plug, because it's just like in all these aspects that I've had in my life, like I've always been a plug, or I've always been a connector. You know what I mean?
Got caught with drugs.
Man, bro, I'm the most unluckiest man. No, you right, no, Rico. I don't know a man that's been caught with drugs as much as me. Every year of my life, bro.
Got a case in every state.
Hey, man, that's funny.
Bro,
Niggas
bro.
gonna be getting
I'm
caught.
telling you, man. But
I know a
Mr.
couple.
Ben said you get one get out of jail free card.
I know a couple.
I put you to Chatham. The rest on you.
You're just not supposed to
bro.
do it, man. It's not the game you're supposed
Yeah,
to
it's
play.
not your game, though.
It's not your
Leave
game.
that shit alone.
I'm tired.
Man, and then, just stemming from that, and then the BP comes from my guy that, he probably, is going to serve, he's been serving since the Betts days or whatever. And, he's probably the only person that I write back and forth with. And, I just took the initials of his name and told him we gonna do this together. Don't give up, because he was always one of those people, like, especially because what's so crazy about it is when I was over there on the radio station over there at, what is it?
Was it local?
Yeah, local.
Q?
Yeah, Q. All the people in jail could hear our
Oh,
music.
word.
And you was going by BP the plug at that time?
No,
I
wasn't. But he was somebody. So even though he was on the inside, he would hear everything HISO was doing and the music and stuff like that. And and this is somebody that even back in the day, when I was going to Springfield High, like I remember the first days when I walked in there, and I thought I was the shit, because I have some money to spend, and I was gonna get beat up in the bathroom, and he had my back. I never knew him from no jump or nothing. And so one thing I always told him is that, man, just keep your head up when you do get out. Man, I got us, because he was just somebody just like me that comes from that life. The difference is, for whatever reason, God bless me in different ways, and so. Who am I to say that, I'm not really him in that cell, And so, to me, that's where BP, the plug, comes from. And so, yeah.
So with the name change, is the music style change? Because from originally, I don't know exactly how you would define the music you was making before, but now it seemed like you're taking more of the trap wave. The beats are more up, sped up, a lot more.
Yeah.
What was...
And where that comes from, man, is, once again, failure. And maybe you guys might not see it as failure, but to me, I looked at it as failure, because one thing Springfield will do to you, especially if you're a black male coming up, they will almost train you into believing that you got to be Mr. Suit and Tie to really get that money and to really have a chance at, getting that bag. I'm not talking about I'm talking about money. 5 or 6 digits, type of money. You got to play by these people's game. And that's the way that I treated even HISO until, I want to say, literally till I kind of changed the name. And it's just, and where that stems from is that all these people that grew up with me that really know me is like, bruh, we see what you're doing for the public, and we love everything you do for the kids in the community, but that ain't you. And then the people that I'm trying to do it for is like, man, they're not even accepting me into it, because to them, they's like, bruh, you are not white, and you are not the Carlton or the black savior. So here I am in a position where it's like, dang, I can't even be myself, and I'm trying to put out this projection to get further for my family and to open more doors, and it's not working. So I got to the point where I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna be me. Yeah. I'm going to just be me. The other day, and I'm not gonna call that person out, but basically they hit me up and they were like, man, we saw your video, and you were smoking blunts in it. And, you know, do you think that's a really good example, you know, for the kids, you know, in the community that, you know, you're trying to build and everything? And I was like, look, you know, listen, no disrespect, you know, Jesus had his way of saving people and I have my way of saving people. You know, I can't do it y'all way. And if me not doing it my way, you guys have a problem with me still helping the community the way that I want to, that's on y'all. You know, like I can't
Every
because
time.
trying to do it the other way, like, you know, I've lost countless people and countless memories and countless just like this 5-6 years has gone by quick.
And doing it the other way, you can lose yourself, and you don't want to do that.
You
at
can't
all.
do that. You can't
bruh.
do that.
Exactly. So this time around, you know what I mean? I was like, you know what, shit, you know, like a lot of people don't even realize, like, you know what I mean? That first 2 years of HISO, I wore, and he knows, he probably laugh at it, I wore the same 6 pair of jeans. Same 6 pair of jeans for 2 years. I mean, every time people would see me like in HISO and stuff, they would think I was the janitor. They'd be like, bro, you don't like, what the, you know, I mean, like, you don't even like, your shoes is dusty, you know what I mean? And that's because, you know, I put more worth in assets and trying to be that person. And this time around, it's like, bruh, like I'm 29 years old. I got a bag. I'm finna buy designer. I'm finna buy gold. Because not just because, you know, it looks good. Nah, we've been wearing gold before they knew what the fuck gold was. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you know, so to me, it's just like, bro, I'm done with all that, bro. You know
I'm gonna tell you
I mean?
what I see though. When I look at your building, and I live on 4th Street, so I see your building
We
daily.
see each other. We probably see each other probably like 4 or 5 times a week.
Yeah. Alley conversations. You walking your dog, I'm walking the dog. I got my boy. Wow. But when I see your building, I see your name on the building. I see the building, and what I see is a representation of hip hop, and it's like, you know, I'm gonna tell you, like, I'm 45 years old. I've been doing this, you know, in a notebook since I was 14. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, first project I ever dropped was in '99. Yeah. So I have a project that's almost 22 years old. So looking at your building, it's a representation of everything you talking about, everything that me and this man do, and our other artists in this room. You have a building on the corner, on the block, on a major street in this city, and that's huge.
It's serious.
And very serious.
And not to interrupt you, if people only knew what it took to even open up and how they blackballed me.
Oh, I got
like,
an
you know,
idea.
if people only knew that Ayo got a building and they told him he couldn't even open up because he needed to pay for a permit. The permit cost $30. The architectural drawings, because I had to do it for the whole building, cost me 10 G's. And I literally almost bought a building that I would never even open up to the public because these people wouldn't work with me. So on top of being 24 years old, just trying to get a bag for the building.
24 years old.
Just trying to get
task.
a bag for the building, what do you call it? After working, I mean, the people like Benedict Blades and us, and like it was us that built it with our hands. We didn't have contract workers building them walls and stuff like it was us. And then even after we did all that, city's like, nah. And I get it, legal reasons and all that and stuff like that. But in my, I guess where I'm getting at is that you would think that if somebody was trying to do something great in a city where businesses are already failing and falling, that there'd be somebody or an organization that would help you when you get into those type of positions, because they know deep down that not everybody knows that stuff clearly, or they wouldn't have so many people that hit them up or have to go backwards because they're like, oh, we needed to get that. Like you would think that, you know, there would be somebody there, especially because it happens so much, you know? So.
Does that excuse me, does that kind of pertain to the type of business you were trying to run?
So no, it just, a lot of people don't realize even your own house, if you build a wall in your house and the city finds out and you don't have architectural drawings,
you can't even put like a little shed to hide your lawn equipment.
And the only reason that it costs me more than maybe a normal person, or it'd be different like if I was renting a room, then I would have just needed the architectural drawings for that room. But they made me get it for the whole building. And a lot of people don't realize, you know, in that building, I have a 3-bedroom apartment and a 2-bedroom apartment. Didn't have no walls or nothing in there, but I had to get the architectural drawings for the whole building. And that's what. That's what screwed me, man.
Yeah, you got a situation going on over there,
So
man.
it just, I mean, it's been
Living and learning.
Yeah, living and learning, and and it just like people will never truly understand, like, you know what I mean, this last, 5-6 years, what it took to keep that building going. Like, if people only knew what the mortgage is on that building, you know what I mean? It just, so I mean, I'm not here to complain because it's a blessing and stuff like that, but
Some good to be mad about.
You gotta, but
Yeah.
you got, those are steps you gotta take just so you can know in future endeavors. So
I could tell people though, man, before you get into that stuff, man, I thought I did a lot of research, do even more, man, because it's just like, even to this day, I'm still learning how to take care of that building. And what I mean by that, being young and stuff and getting into things like that, like where I'm at now, like I just wish, like, especially like in Atlanta and moving forward, I'm just gonna rent because, at the end of the day, when it's cool to have assets and stuff like that, and you definitely want some, but then there's a relief of, man, if the
certain
assets, if something happens with the roof, or man, if this year alone I've replaced, the heating system for upstairs and downstairs, you know what I mean? And all that stuff, that's not stuff that you see in the cost of buying these buildings and maintaining them. You don't. And that alone, until I want to say like last year, that was another reason I was broke because I couldn't save. Every time I tried to save anything, something would happen. And I'd have to fix it. And nobody's coming to your rescue.
The headaches of being an owner.
I want to say maybe it was like 2 months ago, because I have the event hall too, somebody left their drink by the breaker box and it spilled in there and fried all my wires in the half side of my building. Shit, $7,000. You know what I mean? And yes, I have insurance and stuff like that. But bruh, my insurance is so high from things going wrong. I don't even want to,
I ain't calling
I'm just trying to pay for it myself
just try to
because
take care
it just, I mean, that first 2 years I had already racked it up. And like I said, we on 6, so I just try to pay for it myself.
You playing a different game, man. You playing a total different game.
Different game.
It just like I say, man, I'm grateful. I just know that was a way bigger decision than I ever thought it was. Like, 24 Ayo would have known this. I'm not saying that I would have backtracked on it, but I definitely would have took a pump fake. Like, I would have, just hold on, hold on,
As I'm listening to you talk, are you fighting with business and your personal feelings?
Man.
Because when you see artists, you might see an artist and be like, you know what, I could take this and flip this, but there is business to this.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. When you say it to that, yeah. So I'm at the stage right now where it's just like, I don't really want to bring on artists at like a level where they're just at ground zero. You know what I mean? Like, once again, like I want to bring on partners in every aspect of it. And it's no disrespect to the people that are on that lower level. I just feel like I've worked hard enough to get there to be able to have people at that table.
You did that.
But I guess and I don't even know if this is really kind of answering your question. The hardest part for me right now is just like, and I think it's kind of like all of us in this room, is just like, even with everything that I got, I still feel like I'm walking around in somebody else's skin because I still feel like, yes, people are like, man, if I had that, I could probably just live like that for the rest of my life. This still doesn't feel real to me in the sense because I want so much more. That's the hardest pill to swallow, is that I'm getting older and older, and it's just like, my dreams and the goals and that I'm fighting for, and it's just like, it's all in the eye of the beholder, success or whatever, It's just, it's hard to balance sometimes. It's hard to balance, reality and your dreams, bro. Like,
I get it. Yeah. Man, a lot of doubt comes in that too, man. All of that.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm with Cuz. I want to take a trip. Where we going? What's up with Spain? What's up with England?
So, I mean, so England was fun for me because, first of all, in England, you only got to be 18 to drink. And I have 5 brothers, and so I had my older brother's IDs. Even though I was 16, I was in all the bars. I mean, I could tell you what's so crazy about it is like, and I don't know if y'all would do it. You can say I'm bogus for it, but I mean, from day one when I got there and I went into the school and there was all those kids outside the principal's office waiting for me, and I'm like, who are they there for? And the principal was like, you're the first American kid that's come to our school. When he said that, when I tell you them lies came out like, I think at the time I was like T.I.'s nephew.
Baby. You got to.
Man,
He said them lies came out.
Bro, they didn't stop till I got deported to Spain. What's go crazy? Like,
Hey, they still think they real.
oh yeah, I mean, I got some of them on Facebook friends. Yeah,
He was lying getting on the boat.
man. When I tell
I'm
you,
enrolling in Cambridge.
like,
Hold on. What Lil Herm say? He said, man, all you gotta do is say you that. And that's what they say.
I'm
you
Lloyd's
is.
little brother.
I'm a rapper.
I'm Lloyd's little brother.
They
Hey,
love Americans.
What's up
Like,
what's up with the knife crimes?
Oh, there was no gun crimes. There was
They
probably that whole in the
stabbing
whole
niggas.
Britain, which is probably the size of like
You really did that.
half of America, or maybe Britain's bigger than America. I don't know how.
I think it's half, like you said.
I don't know how it worked, but I know when I lived there that year, there was only 3 shootings. But stabbings, if you didn't get stabbed, you ain't from the streets.
Like that's
And then the craziest thing that I ever saw was I was leaving a soccer game, and I was like, Auntie, what are they doing in the parking lot? And she was like, Dele, face the front. And I'm, yeah, okay. So I turned to look, and literally as we were driving off, somebody made a noise. And when I say they had chains and bats and whatever, no guns, fans from both teams in a parking lot. Bro, it looked like
Warriors.
Bro, I don't even know how to explain what the fuck I saw. But
Mel Gibson.
it was the
war.
craziest
Yeah.
shit I've ever seen. And I asked my aunt, I was like, where are the cops? And she's like, those are the hooligans. Every team has one, and they all do it.
So that's real.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
real. That's real.
Man,
Knife crime showed back up.
What? If you parted like that, like, I mean, they paint
Knife crime.
themselves. I mean, I don't know if I heard war drums. And I don't know. I was younger, but all I
it
know
was
is I heard a
Braveheart.
noise.
It's Braveheart for real.
I heard a noise at what I saw, like, because my aunt didn't stop for me to really, like, you know what I mean?
She
like,
said,
see
Dele,
those-
wasn't
Dele,
trying
turn
to.
to the
She
front.
was like, stop.
Dele, turn to the front.
Knife crime is happening. That's crazy.
They had bats with spikes.
They tough over there. You stabbing niggas?
Oh, bro, they are different. Like, I mean,
How
not
you
just
doing?
stabbing. It's the headbutt that's the worst. That's their
Yeah,
go-to.
that nose.
Like, you know how, like, you know, around here, we gonna look away, you know what I mean, and swing, you know, they talking to, bow.
Hey.
You don't want to be.
We not playing. We coming with everything, dog.
I know, bro. Just
British Bulldogs.
It's different.
Davy Boy Smith on them.
I won't lie, they had me wanting to try out the head, but I never did. But I go with
Hey, you gotta toughen your stuff up.
Niggas' head is
Hey, you
hard.
gotta get callous right about here.
Man, you
know?
better.
Little Klingon.
You can't just get the.
What's your favorite country?
America.
Word.
Yeah, man.
Why?
All right, so you guys are kind of asking about like England and Spain and like America and like Nigeria or Africa and stuff like that. America, yes, I know my guys. I know we ain't quite free out here, but let me tell you what, around the world, we really ain't free.
Hey,
You know,
my
like what I
boy
mean by
Odyssey said the grass ain't greener on the other genocide.
And what I mean by that is like, you know, like man, when you 18 years old, let's say you get your chances, you know, right. You can go get a car, you can go get, you know what I mean, a house to stay in and stuff like that. Like let's take England, for example. Most of those people live with their parents till they're 30 years old.
Whoa.
Not because that they don't have the income and stuff like that, but it's almost like people are on top of each other. There's just not enough space. You know what I mean?
They got a lot of side by side townhomes,
exactly.
lots of them.
Since there's not a lot of space, there's really no need for the cars. So you don't really need a car because it's kind of
True.
like the New York type of lifestyle.
Chicago,
imagine your whole
You don't
country.
need a car in the city.
Wow.
And then another thing too, it's like since there's not a lot of space, there's not a lot of housing either. And so when you do get a house, it's super expensive. So a lot of people don't. And then
A lot of apartments,
yep. And
high
then,
rises.
Yep. And then like Spain and Africa, man, it's just poverty, man. You know, usually you just don't got it. You know what I mean? And if you do got it, you know what I mean? It's a gap. Like it's either you got it or you don't. It's not
Right.
like here where there's like, you know, poverty,
Or middle
poor,
class.
lower class, lower middle, like
There's no tiers. It's here spectrum.
It's either
Right.
like, usually in those countries, you're poor or you're rich. You know what I mean?
So
It's
we
not-
really have it good. And when we look at the other side, we looking at the tourist side of everything,
Yeah.
not the reality of everything.
Would you say we almost have unlimited opportunity as opposed to?
Yeah. So let me
yes.
let me tell you how like crazy, like just something that you guys might even take for granted, which are just at the
I
smallest
would love
level.
to know that because honestly, like African people, I don't, I haven't really got to build like that with one, and some of the ones that I have got to build with, it's like it's different. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. That's why I said I'm a black sheep, man. I love being on both sides of the fence. You know what I mean? I feel like, there's a lot more of me now, you know what I mean? Especially with the younger generation, coming up and stuff like that. But it was kind of unheard of, man. Either, you went to school to be a taxi driver, a lawyer, or something like that. Like, my story, man, like it's usually unheard of, you know what I mean? But what I can tell you, like, we have this system called NEPA, and NEPA, it's kind of funny that I'm even talking about NEPA. But anyways, NEPA is our grid. So basically in Nigeria, it's almost like in America, like you guys have your Springfield, electric, or CWLP, every city has it. In Nigeria, we have something called NEPA, and basically the British built the British built a dam, but that dam provides electricity to all of Nigeria. The problem is that since the British colonized us and we basically got our freedom, we've been growing and expanding. The country has gotten even bigger. So that dam that they built, can't power up all of Nigeria. So what you have is sections. So that means the west side of Nigeria for 2 weeks will have electricity, but then north, east, and south has no electricity. Unless you have a portable
generator.
Unless you have a generator, but the only people that have generators are the rich people. So could you imagine that at half of the month you have no electricity? So that means if people don't understand how important that is. Just you being able to get up at night and read or do whatever you got to do with electricity, that helps you move faster in life. In every aspect of life.
Right.
So you have people that literally have no electricity for 2 weeks, but have to manage through it like the rest of the world. They are at such a disadvantage, and that's why I say, at the smallest sense, just electricity. You know what I mean?
Man, I was watching a sitcom the
We're
other
the
day.
capital over here.
And the folks in the sitcom was Nigerian, and it was at a wedding. And one of the guests was American, and the lights went out. Then they came back on. It's like, hey, what's going on? Somebody didn't pay the power? Somebody said, welcome to Nigeria.
Yeah.
So what you just said, put that right in perspective.
Yeah, what happened was that family had a generator, the lights went off. See, where I'm from, that's why, we always, especially at parties and stuff, we always got our hands in our pockets and stuff like that because, bro, when them lights go off, and let's say, he said, they come back on, bro, I've been in situations where people are like, where are my shoes?
Whoa.
Where are my shoes?
You's a real nigga.
That's a nigger.
These real Nigerians.
That's different.
You know what I mean? And
That's
it's
what he
just
said.
so it just...
How you do that?
That's what I want to know, bro. Like I said, I don't...
God damn.
For my shoes.
That's a real nigga.
Hey, I didn't have somebody ask for my shoes with the lights on.
So give me them damn shoes. They're nice.
He took... Yeah, that's real.
God,
but then there's it also creates a different type of paradise that, you know what I mean, could never be created here. You know what I mean? When you don't, how do I say that? It's different when you see it. The internet's probably changed a lot of things, but growing up there, when you don't see it, you don't feel like you're really being robbed of it. If you've never seen how the rich and the white live and you don't have shoes and you're running around, you don't realize that you're even poor. You don't. Until you see it. And growing up, I never saw a white person maybe if a window went down, you might see one by the airport, but until I moved here, I never saw them like that. So it's just that was also a wake-up call. But now with the internet, it's changed a little bit because now what's crazy about it is Black people in America don't realize how much power they have just on Africans or just the world. When I say that Africa is really supposed to be big brother, but really America, Black, just as a society to us, is big brother. We want to be and emulate you guys so bad, we don't even realize what the fuck we're doing. You know what I mean? Like if you go there to my city now, you'll see nothing but, it's clearly not real, but you'll see nothing but people wearing designers, sagging their pants, you know what I mean? Before we used to have there used to be like segs, you know what I mean? Like, you would have like gangs, but they were ran by the kings. And then, outside of the bushes, you had those type of basically they're like gangsters that live in the woods and basically they come out
guerrillas.
the woods. Basically, you know what I mean? And then if you go further out than that, then you start to get towards like farmland and desert. And those are like those people that live in like the huts and spears and still kind of really live off the land. But there's like segments to this stuff. It's not like what Discovery did was they showed you one piece. They showed you the outer rim of the sex, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
They didn't show you, and they might show you like the second, which is the forest, but they didn't get into like the shanties and then the cities and then you know what I mean? You know what I mean? And that's like, trust me, the projects is you really can't, especially, like Caprini Green projects and stuff in Chicago.
I remember them.
I'm somebody that's been in them, so I understand, you know what I mean? But what I can say is those shanties, when I tell you the smell in them type of buildings.
Niggas walk around with hyenas.
Yeah, well, man, they might as well,
And the motherfuckers laughing and shit, too. My hyenas laughing and shit.
He's wild.
I ain't lying, bro. I watched them documentaries, bro. Niggas really walk around with hyenas like they dogs, bro.
Yeah, they do.
With a muzzle on them.
With a muzzle on them, bro. Some of them is playing like, some of them use them as like axe and shit, like in they street, bro. The shit they got is crazy,
or to guard. Like my dad, when we was growing up, we had a baboon like Rafiki. And I mean, if you've never seen one of those baboons in real life, like, bro, when I tell you
intimidating,
their teeth is the size of your head.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And what basically they do is they'll tie them up so they walk along the fence line of like your property.
A mandrill? Is it a mandrill? With the blue nose?
White. Well, I remember mine was like white with the blue and then like the crazy ass. I don't know what the hell was going on with it. But something was nasty going on.
He said with the ass.
Fluorescent. Motherfucking cheeks.
Trauma cheeks.
Baboon with mega knees.
Yeah, I just remember the reason we had to get rid of it is because it started throwing its own shit at the people walking by. And
They do that. He was getting unruly.
what's messed up is I'm pretty sure they probably ate that baboon, which is crazy.
Damn.
Yeah. Like, that baboon for throwing shit really,
That's
it really.
it's different.
So what is eating over there?
Man, once again, depends if you poor or rich.
Depends on what you get.
I mean, I can say that in
Give
the
me a
most
couple
purest
of
form.
give us
from each spectrum.
I mean, like, if you rich, then you probably eating, like, bro, we got McDonald's, you know what I mean? It might not look like McDonald's here, but we got McDonald's.
What's that look like, though?
Whoa. They got McDoubles?
It tastes different. It definitely tastes different.
Yeah,
Like even in the South, you get different menu items.
Yeah, because they had the spicy McChickens in the South first before they came up
and
here.
guess what?
You might get greens
In
at-
Florida, I got a 10-piece for $1 something. I was like, how?
Where was you at?
That was possum. That was a possum.
That's what I thought. I was like, how does this happen?
That was possum, dog.
Bro,
Ganger
it wasn't
nuggets.
Nuggets.
it wasn't Illinois chicken nuggets. That's all I know.
They were this big.
They was regular size, but I don't know the
Them shits look
percentage
like
of
Popeye's
chicken.
chicken tenders.
I
were Tyson.
don't
They
know
were
the percentage of chicken.
Banquet.
They went next door and got
Because I went to the store the other day, chicken breast was on sale, and they said 15% chicken. What is the rest
Wait a
of
minute.
this?
That shit water.
Yes.
The rest of that shit water.
the rest is water.
Probiotic.
Rib. It'd be rib. Oh, well, this is made with
Oh, that rib meat.
parts.
That rib meat.
Yeah, no.
So I never
get
had
it.
chicken ribs.
It's different, bro. Wherever, even here, it's different.
So what's a poor food?
That'd be like,
Like here we got chitlins.
bush meat would be like, bush
What's
meat.
bush meat? What's
I
bush
just
meat?
talked about this shit.
yeah.
I just told y'all about this shit. I just said that.
It's bush meat stew.
I just
It's funny that you say that because
It's like meerkat.
I just told y'all about
Like
that.
I didn't see like the little head in there.
Bruh,
In an example.
No, bro, no,
Meerkat.
let him explain it.
It's funny that you say that because when I first seen Rico for the first time, I almost thought he was a little African. And I know you guys look at his nose and you're like, okay, nah, maybe not. But if you take that away, bro, my uncles and cousins kind of look like that. It's just the droopness. I'm just keeping it real. I'm just keeping it real.
Listen, I seen the Pharaoh on Facebook look just like me. Nigga had my nose and all that. It was a Pharaoh.
I think he thinks I'm not even trying to crack jokes. Like, bro, does got some because a lot of because once again, because of the Discovery Channel, a lot of people just think Africans are this black, purple.
Nah, hell no.
My daddy is. I'm not gonna lie. He is a typical African.
The dads are supposed to be.
We don't all look like that.
Tell me the truth, bro, because I'm about to go to Ancestry.com and they ain't telling me what I need to know.
I get it, man.
I've had a lot of cats foreign that's been like, where are you from, Todd? No cap. No, for real.
You got the Ethiopian, you little Somalian look about you.
Listen.
You know what I'm saying?
I went to a white hand pantry. No, I'm not even cap. I'm not. It's
They
no
say
cap.
get your ass back here and make your sandwich.
What you just say?
I don't know. This is no cap. This is no cap.
Wait. You went to what?
White hand pantry, nigga trying to go to work.
Bodega. He went to the bodega.
Oh, okay.
And I got out
He
of the
White hen.
bro. I got out of the whip,
Them niggas
and
ain't
as
even white
soon
in
as
there.
he was taking a break, and as soon as I got out the whip, he said some stuff in their language.
He tested you.
He said, "Yerrrr." And I was like, what?
He said you're late.
And he was like,
Put your
he
apron
said-
on and get back in the back.
He asked me, he was like, where are you from? I was like, here. He was like, you look 100%
You look
Arabic.
you have that vibe.
You do, though.
Ethiopian.
Got that
and
Somalian
you close-
vibe.
No. So-
You do.
so-
You look like you're taking a class in Lincoln Land right now.
No cap.
And you play soccer for
No
UIS.
cap.
And you work for Jamal.
And you're riding the bus.
I don't. So I gotta
you
go
live
to
by the mall.
Ancestry.com.
You live by Dairy Queen.
with some regular lace.
You live in Orchard, Chatham Hills. Chatham Hills? That's what you say?
Oh my
I don't know.
It smell like bacon in your
Oh my
stove.
God. Oh.
Hey, your Timberlands is open toe.
Hey, for the listeners,
hold on, wait, but
these
hold on.
niggas is trying to make jokes right now.
Hey,
These
hold on.
niggas is making jokes.
Hey, you got in a big fight with lotion.
See, look, niggas is talking.
Carry on time.
This is
Hey, Todd.
So I don't even know.
Make sure. Because listen, I really want him to explain to y'all Bush meat. I know I explained to y'all, but I really want him to explain
I
it.
do. I'm gonna let you
And then
explain
we
what
find
it
out where
is.
you're from.
Because
Yes.
but no, when you said
Or the next episode of Dangerfield Pop.
when you said, I'm gonna figure this out, bro. I promise. Because look, when you said Ethiopia, I used to give tours. No, I did. Where? No,
Ethiopia.
bro, no, here. I did tours here at the Capitol.
Okay.
And so they used to, I'm a nigga. So Todd, you take the international tours. No doubt. Immediately. So Todd, you take the international ones. So after the tours, I'd have international tours ask. Dude was like, you look like you're from Ethiopia, all of that. So you said that right now.
Mm-hmm.
I'm finna go to Ancestry.com.
I bet
But
he
everybody
did.
in the
Bet he
tour,
did.
everybody in that tour would always be like, so how'd you get this job
And
here?
you should. Like, I did it even though I didn't want to because, bro, I can go back almost 500 to 1,000 years and talk about my ancestors and grand. So to me, you couldn't say that there was ever anything leaked in my ancestors that wasn't African. Like, I'm a pure-blood African.
It's not Ancestry.com.
My kids are I didn't come from slaves. Like,
How
you know,
empowering does that feel to know your lineage?
That's real talk.
For sure.
It does empower me, but I won't lie. Until I came here, I thought every Black American knew that. Until I went to school for the first time, that was the first time I realized, like just the gaps, like dad's not being there, like just everything. Like, it was a wake up call. You know what I mean? answer your ancestry.com thing, like I went.
Can
and
I
did
go
it.
there though?
Yeah.
Because I feel like I can't. They gonna be like, nigga, you from Lincoln?
No, you can't. I mean, well, actually, I did.
You related to Brian
You
Cook.
can go there, but you can also do it online. And I did mine online and sent it in. But long story short, I was 97% West African and 3% Arabic. And what's crazy about it is, in my culture, 1,000, or maybe not 1,000 years ago, but in my culture, what's weird is that before the British came, we didn't know about Christianity. We worshipped like a religion more like voodoo, like the old gods.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Before
Original.
all that, before even the Muslims came and the Christians came, all that stuff. It was the old gods. And long story short, in our culture, it says that I forget who killed who, but basically it says Cain that killed Abel. And what's crazy about it is we still call him Cain. You know how many African names there is? But long story short, they say Cain was the one that taught us how to make steel after he ran from his land and killed his brother. And what's crazy about
That's
that is
wild.
before any of Christianity, Muslim, and all that. That's a story back in our day. And it just, I don't know, whenever they gave me the ancestor test, I was like, okay, maybe Cain, was my ancestor back in the day. And we did, because they say basically Cain and his followers or whatever came to a certain part of Nigeria, and they were like the kings and queens for a while because we worshiped them because of their skin color and just their knowledge or whatever.
Damn.
So I don't know.
That's some real deep. That's real deep.
I don't know.
A lot of folks don't realize Christianity came after Christ.
Yeah.
Like, Christ was not a Christian.
Well, no.
Well, I mean, but
his
people,
name was Christ.
But people would think that.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Oh, Christ was a Christian. No, Christianity comes from Christ.
Right. It came from the origin is his name.
Exactly.
But to talk
we know that.
his bush meat, because I know
Please
he
explain
wants
to
to.
him about
What
the
is
bush.
that? What is that?
So bush meat. Okay, so
I don't know what that. What
Please
is
explain to them.
bush meat basically when
what
you
it sound
poor
like.
and you know what I mean, and you can't afford like getting like like going to like we have markets, but you can't really afford the market. There would be this stands that you can buy bush meat. What bush meat is anything that came out of the joint. It's bush meat because you got to spit out the pellet bullets whenever you eat it and stuff like that.
Because it's okay.
Sometimes it's in your stew or your rice because you'll mix the meat in with that. But yeah, when you you'll sit there, you'll eat, but then you'll have like on the side you'll have these like because you spit out a bunch of bullets. Yeah. And long story short, it's like, I mean. See, us Africans, we're not as, I almost said some stuff I might have regretted.
We're not as bougie as y'all.
No. I was going to say, like on the Western world, when there's animals, you guys got to make sure that you know what it is. You found it. You put a name to it. Y'all got to know every type of animal that's walking, because if there's an animal that's walking in your backyard in the Western world and you don't know it, it drives y'all crazy.
Somebody's like, that shit's lunch.
I don't know what that is.
That's thigh meat.
This is an animal we got.
Yeah,
today.
so there's a lot of bush meat that I don't even think for say that we really know what type of creature it is, but it's like possums, rats.
Oh, that's
bats,
real
like
bush.
anything that's in the bush that's small that I guess like
We call
the
them-
rich or normal people wouldn't eat if you laid it out for them.
We call
Sometimes-
them varmints.
Yeah, sometimes I won't lie. Sometimes it's horse, dog. Like it's just bush meat. Like it's all the
Bro, and that shit
lower-
be cooked to
Yeah.
ain't
You
no
wouldn't know.
ain't no
Is it-
Because they mix it together. They might mix possum
you gotta
with
get that
dog,
game
with
taste
rat,
out of it.
You won't know. Like you'll be eating.
It's
Lord.
it's damn near
I got a horse,
say it
dog,
like that.
possum.
You say it like
But
that.
it's probably be fire though if you
I've eaten bush meat. I've been, I
you
won't
need
lie.
nourished.
But once again,
That's it.
Cause hey, to this day, if them chillin', niggas always hit me with this. Got a lot of bougie niggas, but I will eat. I mean,
I got a tie-dye hoodie on. Exactly.
I'll put some hot sauce on that and it's.
I bet you won't put that shit on this fried back.
See, but
On that COVID.
You American.
You
on
couldn't
that
tell.
COVID-19
You couldn't tell me I'm eating.
On the back.
back.
No, listen. When you
Gooey
get
duck.
it, that motherfucker still put together the little motherfucker like this
With his face on
bro.
still.
See,
They're
no.
handing you the whole entire bat, bro.
sometimes they do, and sometimes they'll cut it up in a mixture. Because what he's talking
gotta
about
cut
is
it up.
Soups and shit.
because when they cut it up in a mixture for you, it's even cheaper.
Yeah.
I
you don't know.
this is messed up, but I'm telling y'all, I know.
Because this is the hot dog of the
I know.
Bushmeat.
I don't know how he figured out about Bushmeat, but he's right though.
Cuz just said that though. Cuz just said it. We eat people eat hot dogs.
That's bushmeat to me.
That's what
he
is.
said.
That's
That's what he
bushmeat.
said.
Yeah.
Now
that I
there
think
is
about it,
a-
I never thought about it like that.
Now
That
there's a
is
thing called
Bushmeat.
scrapple.
Yeah.
That's
Now,
another thing.
On the East Coast, they have it's not sausage, but it's called scrapple.
I don't
is
know what
that?
that is.
The floor of where they
that?
was making
The floor.
sausage.
It's
The
bushmeat.
man, it's floor meat.
Bushmeat.
Yeah.
I mean, I've looked at the ingredients. It's like
Nigga, brown swagger to me is bushmeat.
All
What
of
is that?
All of that
That's all
type of
project.
stuff is
It's
just
bullshit.
getting broken down and
Right.
categorized.
Red
and
I never even
Kool-Aid,
thought about it like that until y'all
marketed
said that like that.
differently.
Really? Now y'all make me feel better about eating bushmeat. Like, cause
Hey,
hot dogs and stuff
had
like
that.
honestly, the bushmeat is fresh. This shit we're talking about is processed.
Hey,
Bushmeat.
Ayo referenced Woo earlier. Ghost told you dead meat on the shelf. Y'all eating cold cuts.
Hey man,
But that's what I will say. Even though it's
Fast
bushmeat,
from
it
the
was
hog,
killed the
y'all.
day before. You know what I mean? We don't really have
fresh.
a lot of
It's fresh.
Yeah, we don't. So in like especially maybe
Not
not in all
processed.
African cultures, but in my
Preserved.
culture, like for example, and this is how like real it is. Like one time my uncle picked up a goat and put it in his trunk. He put the tire on top of the goat. He put his suitcases on top of the tire and then closed it. We drove for 4 hours. When we got out, my uncle was screaming pissed because not for the goat's health, but because if that goat had died, we wouldn't have eaten it.
yep.
And that's
'cause
just
he
on the
wasn't gonna
4
eat
hour
it
fresh.
ride.
He wasn't going to eat a dead animal. He
No.
must have. Oh, I
Hey,
see. Yeah.
hey, but
And
that's
in my
real-
head,
that's
I'm
all
like, bro,
real.
the goats, like, you
We eat
like,
that food.
Life, like,
We eat that food. We go buy chicken breasts that been sitting on the shelf for how long?
you don't even know.
Now
No.
listen. We talked to the turkey man. He said that turkey goes from the
Man.
from the what did he call it?
The gobbler to the whatever he said.
to the grind to the
All of
30 minutes to flash freeze
That's
right there.
Man, that's real.
Fresh.
real. It's a different taste.
That's why his product is what it is.
That's what it is.
Yeah.
and I'm not saying that people don't freeze their meats for months on end. I'm just saying before they freeze it, they got it right off like that. He was
Right.
breathing the day before.
Right.
They might have frozen for 4 months or what in a deep freezer, but he was alive before they got to like.
Yes.
They're not. There's really not.
That's
How do I say
important.
like a middleman?
It's
or-
almost like America is backwards. We want seafood in that manner, but nothing else.
Right.
True.
Right.
It's also paying homage to that nourishment.
Yeah.
Because it wasn't a time where you could just go get food. You had to come up, you had to find it, you had to get it, and then you paid homage to the animal.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? We don't do
Yeah,
that.
yeah. No, you're right. Yeah, there was a time we did pay homage to animals, like the old gods and stuff like that. Like I always
You
tell
said that
people-
twice, man. That sounds so powerful when you say the old gods, man.
Because it's just like, how do I say this in the right way? I don't believe in religion, but I believe in a God. I believe in karma and a God. And the reason I don't
Spirituality.
Do you does your culture believe in multiple gods or?
So that's kind of where I'm getting at is that like especially my family, they're torn between Christianity and Muslim, and in my head it's just like you guys bicker over this type of stuff at events and stuff like that, and you guys go back and forth about this one and this was, but like it's kind of like I told you guys about the Cain and the Abe story. There might be a lot more behind it than we all really know.
For sure.
Maybe it is all really tied together. We're trying to make it a difference so we have sides to choose from. When really
It's the same guy.
all maybe a same story.
Yeah, it's
what I
the
mean?
same
Or,
story.
Wow.
like,
I read that
It's
today.
the same
do
story
believe
and it's the same guy.
and I could have it wrong, but I know, put it like this.
Same story, same
If
guy.
you do believe in a God, well, my God that I believe in, I know if we ever come face to face, maybe I'm wrong, but I guarantee you're not gonna be like, oh man, why didn't you do this like this or this? Well, I'm finna be like, bruh, with all the knowledge you gave me on this earth that I lived, this is how I played the game, right or wrong. You know what I mean? Like,
And when you said right or wrong, there's a lot of things that aren't right or wrong, but society makes you choose a side, and it's just not right or wrong.
yeah, I
Sure.
agree.
It's just not
Hey, man,
agreeable with
look,
everybody.
look, the lack of knowledge, that's the key, man. If you don't got the knowledge of whatever that is, you're a fool on the other side of the
For
subject.
sure. For sure.
So that's
Ignorance,
just real.
ignorance does not mean
But
stupid.
to me, it's the same guy. because it's already, he's got many names.
And I read something
He
today.
got many names.
Read
He
something
should, because
today.
there's many lands.
For sure. And there's
Many
how,
tongues.
How can, exactly, as many tongues, as many languages.
There's so many similarities.
that.
There's so many similarities between all of
Everything.
all of the religions, but there's just those little bit of differences that keep the conversation
Right.
of
And it's man-made to me.
It is.
It's man-made, and you always gonna make your stuff to how you do stuff.
And then too, not to bring up like, you know, the old gods and stuff like that, but like back then we believed in the power of words. And what I mean by that is
That's
that,
real.
you know, like faith, I can never take that away from somebody. Like faith, that's something that's almost like you can't even describe it really. And what I mean by that is that the power in the words of like the old gods and stuff like that, we understood like when we chanted this name and we felt that faith, it wasn't necessarily because it's almost like magic. We were heightening ourselves because of these words that we installed, like yes,
vibration in the
raising your
chant.
faith.
yeah, I'm
was
trying to
raising
explain
your
this in the
faith
right
through
way for you guys
vibration.
to kind of get, but
Oh, we
it was
hear- we
almost
hear,
like
baby.
magic,
We hear.
almost like if you said
It
this
is
type of
magic.
God, you would feel that sensation, which is like faith. You know
Yeah,
what I mean?
it is.
And if you said this type of God, maybe you'd feel mournful, or
was
maybe
the
it would humble
personification
you
of
down, like, you know, or calm you down, like, you know what I mean? Or just certain words. And, you know, I think in today's world, like church and stuff is the same thing when we're like, amen, or, you know, or when we're
is.
like, you know, you know, we're just using words to give us power, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? Which gives us faith. And I mean, I think sometimes we, instead of kind of looking like around it and trying to, we look too much into it. You know what I mean? We dive into, okay, granddaddy did it like this, so we got to do it like this. It's like same thing with like, you know, the African culture. Like I always tell them, and they hate when I say it, like certain food from like my culture, they've been cooking now for 500 years and it sucks. You know, like there's a reason, you know, there's a reason why, you know, I like the Western world, you know, they improve on certain things, you know, and I get it. Like it shouldn't be filled with like spices or, you know, sugar, a bunch of stuff that might be fattening and stuff like that. But I like the evolution, you know what I mean? In my culture, we get very stuck on, man, the ancestors did it like that, so that's how we do it. You know, respect it. Nah, fuck
that's
that stuff. I
baseball.
want to eat good. Like, I
Right.
want, I
you
want
also-
some
that's
pepper on
baseball.
that. Like,
Let me ask you a
some-
question. Are there a lot of things like high blood pressure and diabetes in your culture? Because I know there is in mine.
Until you, if you're
Hot sauce. I mean, you know,
Chitlins.
chitlins, yeah.
Sodium.
So yes and no. And what I mean by that is that the Africans in like America, we see a lot of that because we try to get the same type of ingredients that we get in Africa, but they're really not the same ones, you know what I mean? And same things with the red meats, you know what I mean? Like, one thing I can say, like growing up, like in like this culture and whatever, like I used to get like, I mean, all of us did probably like acne and stuff like that. And I used to go back to Africa and they used to look at me like, what the fuck is that on your face? Because like that,
That sugar.
that
you
younger
pop-
like acne stuff that
Coca-Cola.
males get and stuff like that.
That
In
is shit.
Africa, we don't get that. And
Yeah.
I mean, when I tell you some of these people is in dirt, bacteria, and you know, like, yeah, bro.
Skin
And they don't get no acne. Like, you
Yeah.
know, and so it's just, you know what I mean?
Makes
It's-
sense.
I'm trying to say this in the right way, you know, it's, I don't want to say there isn't over there because if you get like a lot of money, you'll see a lot of bigger Africans, and that's just because they're eating really good. I mean, they got maids and they're eating 6-7
Well, you know,
meals a day.
it's funny.
like,
It's funny that America has products that we export to different countries, and those countries don't allow certain things that we allow.
yeah.
So if you have 2 boxes of Fruit Loops, one's going to the UK and one's staying here. This one here in the United States has this, and this. But this box of Fruit Loops that's going to the UK is missing like 10 ingredients because they don't allow that shit.
Oh yeah, UK don't play with that type of yeah.
So I mean, like in other countries, so we are allowing these things
Yeah.
for our own citizens.
Wait, so niggas
it's
got
funny.
like diet versions of
Oh
cereal?
yeah.
Oh,
So
it's
in
gotta
England,
be.
it's all diet. So basically, even when it's so crazy because you guys probably did it, I think in like the 90s or 80s, but it's still big in England. When you go get a drink, you buy the syrup. A lot of people don't even buy the drinks; they buy the syrup, and you put the
Okay,
syrup
yeah,
in
yeah.
water and you mix it like that. That's how you to keep yourself from getting too much soda. Like if you
That's
have
the
soda,
old school. That's
they
the
still
old
do
school.
that, man.
You go
Because
to
it-
the
like,
You
know.
buying bag in the box joints.
That's what goes to the.
That's crazy.
Oh God!
Hey,
man.
C4 was
What
like,
I want to know
C4
is
was
how
like,
did
man,
Rico because I'm not even gonna lie. And all my years of being around, Americans, I ain't never heard nobody bring up Bushmeat. That's like our little secret, embarrassing. Like I don't know, like in the hood. Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. You don't talk about eating chitlins.
you just know grandma making chitlins.
Yeah,
I don't know how, unless, like I said, because I ain't never heard an African that just straight up goes,
Rico
I eat
African.
bushmeat, or comes out saying it, because that's like, if you say you eat bushmeat, you was
So where I get the bushmeat from, like just like how like they watch us and copy what we do and stuff. Like I'm the same way. So like I watch documentaries all day, and I remember I kept hearing about bushmeat, but remember I told you they had on Vice. It was for Ebola. And they went down there, and it was two dudes. I never forget it. They had it back, and they was like, the dude asked him like, so they say Ebola is in the food. He's like, there's no Ebola in this food. And both of them grabbed the meat. They ripped that shit, and one of them cut themselves because it was a bat. And when he ripped that motherfucker, I'm like, and start eating that shit right on. Man, I'm gonna send it to the group chat. Whoa. I really want y'all to watch it. It's fire.
Yeah, we done. Yes.
Yeah, because I'm telling you right now, I got
cheese and chips.
I watch documentaries all day.
I love documentaries, but
no face.
I'm just not able. I'm too Americanized to just to just break a bat open and be like, nigga, yeah.
You know why you say that?
If I had
it's because you ain't never really been hungry.
And that's real talk.
That's real talk.
Like I'm talking about real hunger, where you like, not like, man, I kind of like the stomach. Like I'm talking about like, bro, if I don't eat, I might eat my partner.
And you know what? And that's no cap. No, that's no cap.
You would never. People are like, I never eat a human. Okay.
I know that. I know that from Cliffhanger. You might eat your boy,
bruh. Let me tell you what. Survival mode. I'm not saying like I kill my boy to eat him, but if man, I was like we was stranded. Hold on, I forgot I'm on the podcast. Yeah, Ayo would eat a body, bro. Oh God. Don't let me go hungry and be around.
Hey, I've already said that.
This nigga didn't say it.
I've already said
Oh,
that.
thank you, bro.
Hey, yo. Hey, tough times at HISO, baby. Don't sign that contract. Ayo will eat a body.
Listeners. Know which one of your niggas will
I blame Rico. Rico got me excited with all this bush talk. Baby. I said I was gonna come on this podcast and not make a fool of myself, and he got me.
I don't say you gonna rap. I don't say you gonna rap or you gonna get wrapped up.
Listeners, you should know who is gonna eat you or not. Because niggas will eat you.
Who's capable of cannibalism?
I'm just saying, but no, you're right about that. I don't know that.
See, that's the difference between me and you. Let's not go there.
I already know what I'll do.
You look Somalian. You look Somalian till you might touch like barbecue or something.
I was just gonna say you look Somalian,
But
but
why
you
I'm
can look
always
like
looking
the
like
baked
something?
rotisserie
Hey,
chicken.
Ayo, Ayo, you gotta
38
tell.
days later, you looking like a baked
Ayo,
chicken
tell
from
me though. Tell me for
Sam's
real.
Club.
Tell me for real though, bro, because niggas is always saying, nigga, you is Dominican. I've been Dominican. I've been Ethiopian.
You look like you playing me
Hey,
stickball, fam.
You need to ask Ancestry.com.
I don't think Ancestry.com got the answer,
They
Sway.
got more answers.
Looking
than
over
us.
there looking like a natural second baseman.
How can they have the answers when my history is kind of gone.
Let me tell you how crazy the Western world is when it comes to like, bruh, they are so scientifically there. They could literally find descendants of Jesus, bro. You think that they couldn't find where you from?
I'm just asking because like to me,
they
it's,
on a whole nother level with
the
this
stats be like,
stuff.
if I'm going off of the regular stats that I believe that they were running off of, I'm from Lincoln. Me and my niggas is from Lincoln.
Have you had this conversation?
Tribe of brothers from
With
Lincoln.
my father, he's from Lincoln.
Oh,
In his eyes. So what are we talking? Like, I'm from Lincoln.
But Ayo said something very like it was pronoun for me tonight. Like I don't know my grandfather's
I don't.
parents' name.
I don't. I don't.
I don't.
I don't.
Now, what's
You
so
did.
crazy is like my last name Abitogun means warrior. And that wasn't my last name 200 or 300 years ago. That was given to us by the kingdom because we were berserkers and we were the frontline warriors. So we were given, to this day, my dad has that land that he's already turning into a kind of a city. But basically my family was given I think it's like almost 50 acres and we only farmed like 5% of it because we were so poor until like my dad had some money to kind of go there and do other stuff with it. But I mean, yeah, like, bro, before Abitogun, we were Angel. And basically, once we did that, they gave us a new last name. And for the last 300 years, that's been our last name.
God damn.
My last name, Irish. Newman.
Ain't that crazy?
First name, Sean.
The only spelling that I've seen with my last name is in the Middle East. I need to ask these niggas, where am I from?
There it is.
Because they ain't telling me the truth. They're not telling me the truth.
I got you soul searching. Got you, bro.
Them Carlinville Gorns.
Hold on, didn't we do a podcast where we was like, we did something where we was going to do that for him, wasn't we?
Yeah.
Let's do
And
it.
they should do it.
Wasn't that a thing?
Spit in the cup.
It'll
We're going to
change
send that
your
shit
life.
off.
It'll
I've
change your
been
life.
having
COVID
this
test.
problem.
It'll change your life, man.
This is nothing new. The international tour. Where are you from? Cuba?
You not from
I
Atlanta.
don't know.
You ain't from Atlanta.
I don't know where I'm from.
You probably is Cuban though, low key.
See, nigga, look, like, why you got? Why is that? there?
Raphael Santana.
Why?
What does that mean?
I don't know what that means.
Folks from
Wasn't
Cuba.
there a lot of Africans
Oh, yeah.
put into Cuba during
Caribbean?
Like
I
all
don't-
of that?
That was a stop.
I'm sure.
That was a
Ty,
stop
what
on
kind
the,
of drugs you got caught with? Was it coke?
I never got caught with no coke.
Well, he might not be.
And I'll never tell what I got caught with.
Well, we never will
We
tell.
gonna talk off the air because I want to
Yeah,
know
'cause
about all
I-
these
we
niggas'
ain't gonna talk
backgrounds. Because
about
niggas
that.
start telling themselves out of nowhere.
Yeah. Hey,
I
I
caught a
brought somebody's
body.
grandma 2 years
all
ago.
of that. No, we ain't
I
doing
caught
that.
a body.
No, we ain't doing none of that. Matter of fact, Shawty,
Ayo
this might
ate a
have
body.
to be cut too. This got cut too.
Oh, God.
Ayo, we appreciate you coming through the podcast, man. We
Yes, sir.
appreciate you tapping in. Hey, is there anything that you wanted to talk about? Anything you want to leave the listeners with?
Man, I think we, it hit everything. Like I said, I really wanted to come on here, and I won't lie, before I was going to come on here, you know what I mean, and even, talking to my guy over here, bro, it was going to come from a lot more of an angry place, man, and I really appreciate you guys, you know what I mean, just being open to, listening to me, because I think that really calmed, the air for me, and not only that, just, just not only just with everything that's, going on, because like sometimes like I tell people like I'm human, and sometimes I forget that like people don't really know me like that. It's kind of like a facade, kind of what they hear from other people or see on the internet. So, to me, I want to get aggressive because that's what I know from it, being
natural.
black. Yeah, it's natural.
Well, that's male ego.
It's
Yeah.
defensive
That's ego.
also, and it's natural.
And one thing I just kind of want to get away from this, and I really hope the message is received the right way, is that, it's one thing to like unify and like to say that, hey, we're gonna be more, we're all gonna get along and stuff like that, and won't be any of that. But man, forget all that. If we're not unifying to work towards something, y'all stay over there. I'm cool. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I want this city, like there's so many like different pillars in this city of people, and if we could find a way to like get together for whatever type of goals and stuff like that, we could really see something big. Like, I'm just so tired of being from a city where we have more gifted people here than I see in most cities, talented people, but can't nobody get a break. But first, the break has to start with us. Like, we have to ask ourselves, like, when are we going to get together? Not just to be like, okay, we cool with each other and we not beefing, but actually do something. Like, I know I'm probably late on the whole Wu-Tang thing, but if Ghostface and Raekwon can settle their beef, Nah, but I mean, just long story short, I guess what I'm trying to say is even just myself, like, I'm willing to be in the back burner to be a team player. Like, I don't care about all the extra stuff anymore. Like, I just want to see somebody succeed in the hopes that I can succeed. Like, bruh, like, I don't know about y'all, but like I just said, I feel like I'm walking around in somebody else's skin. And if I'm not, I guess I'm done with the pride stuff. Like, you know what I mean? I'm not too petty to ask for help or to be a team player, even with everything that I got. I just want to move forward in the city, and I know we all do, so it's just kind of where I'm at. So.
That's dope. That's dope.
We definitely appreciate you being on, man. And I believe this was one of the dopest podcasts we had.
For sure, for sure.
Sir. Yes, sir.
With
Thank you,
extra
guys.
special
Thank you.
guests.
Hey,
Thank you,
Todd.
guys.
What's good?
You know what this is?
This intentional danger shit.
This is Intentional Dangerfield.